Three-game road trip. Christian Leitner had 27 points last time out against the Terrapins. A similar performance today would be welcome. Maryland has lost 2 straight ACC games, including a heartbreaker against Clemson Wednesday night. This shot would have sent the game into overtime. It's the first time all season Maryland has lost 2 games in a row. Terrapin coach Gary Williams has been distracted this week with news about possible rule violations. Williams and his team will try to forget about that today and concentrate on Duke. Terrapin forward Jesse Martin is playing well and will be heavily counted on this afternoon. Today, 2 teams trying to bounce back, the Duke Blue Devils and the Maryland Terrapins.
Raycom Sports and Entertainment and JP Sports present the best in college basketball, the Atlantic Coast Conference. Today's game is brought to you by Budweiser, U.S. Air, Jefferson Pilot Life Insurance Company, Buick, First Union National Bank, Food Lion, and by Pepsi.
Live from Cole Fieldhouse in College Park, it's number 4 in the nation, number 1 in the ACC, Duke Blue Devils against the Maryland Terrapins. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mike Hogwood, working along with Terry Gannon today. Terry, it has not been a fun week for Gary Williams and his Maryland Terrapins. The Washington Post reported that Williams has admitted to the NCAA that he purchased some clothing at reduced rates for athletes. Williams vehemently has denied that all week long, but he did admit that on October 15th, the official start date, before that, he was here watching a practice. Well, it's been a distracting time.
Well, I think it's affected us, to be honest with you. You go through this year and you tell the players you don't want any distractions, the things that are going on you can't control. And then some more things, come out this week, and it's been very difficult. It's been tough on me to concentrate, I know, so it affects the players also. But, we're playing Duke, and they've got a great program, and, we're trying to change some things here and get to a point where we are considered like that. And so, we try to face whatever we have to face and just move on and get the players to focus on this one particular game against Duke.
Well, there is a lot of emotion here in Cole Fieldhouse today surrounding these 2 teams. This entire atmosphere. Emotion, a good word to describe it, Terry.
Yeah, I think so. Emotion will play a big part for both teams today. For Duke, the question is, can they come back after a late-night loss to Virginia? They're on the road. It'll be tough. I think the first 5 minutes will tell a lot about their emotional state. And for Maryland, this place is hopping today. It's the one place they can get away from all the off-court problems and have some fun.
Well, let's hope they have some fun. I think we're going to have some fun watching a great basketball game. We'll talk more about Duke and Maryland from College Park in a moment. It's time now for the Mazda game plan, brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. It just feels right. Well, Terry, last Sunday against Notre Dame, Robert Brickey re-entered the lineup for Duke after that knee injury kept him out for 8 games. They were glad to see him back, I'm sure, but it also creates some problems.
Well, in terms of chemistry, I think it does. Chemistry is one of those things that you can't put your finger on. But I do know when you lose a key player like Robert Brickey, you have to make a lot of adjustments getting the chemistry. Then when he comes back, you have to adjust to him being back. Yesterday in a conversation with Mike Krzyzewski, he expressed a lot of concerns over just that, the chemistry.
It changes the roles of about 4 different people, and even it changes Hurley's role a little bit, because he remembers him filling the lane and running the break a little bit better than he can right now. Maybe 2 weeks from now he'll be able to do that again.
Now, Terry, we talk about the Maryland Terrapins. Of course, talk about those big guys up front, Gerard Mustaf and Tony Massenburg.
Well, you have to. That's the key for them. I mean, Massenburg and Mustaf, people get sick of seeing this 2-shot right there, but they're the story. And in the first game against Duke, the Duke inside people dominated the game. These guys got to have a big game early if they're going to win.
We're going to have a good one, Maryland and Duke. Back with the starting lineups after these messages. Mike Hogwood and Terry Gannon with you live from Cole Fieldhouse in College Park, moments away from the start of Duke and Maryland. Right now, let's go to Maryland Public Address announcer Nick Kavalakides for today's starting lineup.
From Cole Fieldhouse on the beautiful campus of the University of Maryland at College Park, here are your starting lineups. The Duke Blue Devils. From University Park, Illinois, a 6'4" senior, number 3, Phil Henderson. From Jersey City, New Jersey, 6-foot freshman, number 11, Bobby Hurley. From Clifton Park, New York, 6'6" junior, number 22, Greg Kubek. From Bloomfield, New Jersey, 6'10" senior, number 30, Hala Abdelnabi. From Angola, New York, 6'9" sophomore, number 32, Christian Leitner. And in his 10th year at Duke, head coach Mike Krzyzewski. The Maryland Terrapins. From Hammond, Indiana, 6'1" junior, number 11, Tion McCoy. From Roxbury, Massachusetts, 6'4" sophomore, number 14, Jesse Martin. From Sussex, Virginia, 6'9" senior, number 25, Tony Messenberg. From Greenbelt, Maryland, 6'10" sophomore, number 32, Gerard Mustaf. From Temple Hills, Maryland, 6'8" sophomore, number 42, Walt Williams. And in his first year back at Maryland, head coach Gary Williams.
There you have our lineups, and Terry Gannon, there's an electric atmosphere in here, and we are going to tip it off and get underway in just a moment from College Park, Duke and Maryland. Stay tuned. Here are our officials today. That's Jerry Donahue in the center, flanked by Larry Limbaugh on the left, and Stan Rote on the right. We are ready to play basketball in College Park. Massenberg and Abdelnabi will jump center as Jerry Donahue will toss it up. There you see the series record. Duke has a big, big lead. And it's Duke controlling the opening tip. That's Greg Kubek inside the Leitner. Bumped by Massenberg and fell down, and Christian Leitner may be hurt.
What a big play right off the bat. Leitner thought he got pushed down low in the post. So did Mike Krzyzewski. His feet got tangled. He went down. It looks like it's his knee. See if we can see it right here. Does he get pushed? Tough to tell. No, I don't think so.
Looks like he just twisted his knee when he caught the ball and just simply fell down.
Well, what a big play. I mean, not just this game, but if they lose Leitner, the guy's been dynamite for Duke. Over 16 a game, almost 10 rebounds a game. It looks like he's walking off, but he's in a lot of pain. Here we have it again from the top angle. The pass down low, a little contact down low, but really nothing that would push him over. I mean, Massenberg had his hand on him, but I think he just got his legs tangled, Mike, and twisted his knee. There you see he's walking off. Looks a lot better right now.
Well, that's certainly a great sign, Terry, to see that he's walking like that with very little limp. Robert Brickey is into the Duke lineup to replace it. Maryland will have the basketball. We resume play.
Speaking of bad knees, Robert Brickey goes in for Christian Leitner. Of course, Brickey coming off that knee injury, out 8 games. We talked about it at the top of the show. Watch here. The first 5 minutes, I think, will be crucial. In the first game, Duke just dominated down low in the first half. They got such a big lead, they couldn't come back.
Massenberg, the senior, gets the first bucket of the game, the first score for Maryland. They draw the lead.
And you saw how they went right down to the block to Massenberg. Here's the 1-3-1 half-court trap. Duke had trouble against this. That's when Maryland made their run in the first game.
Abdelnabi in the paint, gives it inside to Kubek. Great head fakes inside. Kubek with his own rebound and follow. Nice toughness inside for Greg Kubek, who is one of those guys who's really come on when Robert Brickey got hurt.
He's been up and down. He'll have a good game, then sort of disappear for a while. In the big games like this with a lot of emotion, he's been good, though.
Bobby Hurley did a great job of stripping the ball from Walt Williams, as Williams, much taller than Hurley, took it inside on him.
Hey, is this crowd hopping or what? I mean, the students were outside by dawn this morning in the rain waiting to get in.
Basket will not count. Tony Massenberg took steps before he took the shot.
And I'll tell you what, Jerry Williams will be sweating by the 15-minute mark. That's my prediction. He will have the coat off and be sweating by the 15-minute mark of the first half.
Kubek has the ball knocked out of bounds by Williams, and they're going to say that Walt Williams hit Greg Kubek on the eye. First personal foul on Williams, our first foul of the game.
Larry Lembo taking control right off the bat. In an emotional game like this, it's really important for the officials to do that. Here you have the play where Williams bounces into Kubek and knocks him over. Yeah, looks like uprights right there.
Duke trying to get organized on the inbounds play. 2-2 our score. We're in the first minute of the basketball game here. Bobby Hurley to Kubek. McCoy with the rebound for Maryland, and here comes the Terrapins on offense. Loose stop.
Not enough rhythm that time. Didn't get set.
Bobby Hurley into the forecourt now.
Maryland back to the...
Christian Laettner is waiting to come in. Apparently that knee injury not as serious as it might have first looked. Ball will belong to Maryland out of bounds. You see a shot of Abdelnabi, knocked it out. Foul's called on Abdelnabi, his first.
He's played well. He's had 14 straight double-figure games for Duke.
Jesse Martin with the basketball, and there is a whistle underneath. This time I think Laettner's going to be called for the foul. Be the first foul on Laettner. Second foul on the Duke Blue Devils.
See Mike Krzyzewski, we talked to him yesterday, and he really didn't mind the one-day practice. He only had a day to practice and come in here. He says sometimes that's good. Players don't get a chance to really think about how badly they played the night before or how badly they shot, shooting less than 35% against Virginia.
Mustak drives in the lane, and he's fouled on the way through by Greg Kubek. First foul on Kubek, 13 for the Blue Devils.
If they can get the offense set and get the ball to a guy like Mustaf, he's 6'10", 244. Look at how mobile he is. I mean, that shouldn't be legal. A guy that big being able to drive to the basket like that. If they can drive today, that's one of the keys against Duke because they overplay so much. They overplay every passing angle, and it's tough to really run an offense. Today, Maryland's got to drive to the basket to be effective.
Well, we're tied at 2. We're in the first 2 minutes. 18:02 left in the first half. Mustaf tries to break the tie. Iran can't do it. 75% free throw shooter on the season. Leading scorer on this Maryland team, averages 17 points a game.
He was only 6 for 15 against Duke the first time at Cameron. Tony Massenberg only 4 for 11, so that tells you a big story.
Mustaf scores his first point of the game, and Maryland has a 1-point lead.
There's a trap once again. They'll trap on this side. Duke's got a split of his drive right there with Hurley.
Hurley tripped as he tried to split the double team there, Terry. Mustaf will be called for the personal foul, his first. Well, it's good to see that the injury to Christian Laettner wasn't serious. He watched him run up and down the court the last couple of times. Seems to have shaken it off pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, if they lose him against Maryland today with the big guys from Maryland, boy, it's awfully tough when you're on the road.
This is Greg Kubek. Works against Williams. Laettner. Hurley for 3. Bobby Hurley with 3 points.
When they front the man down low, that time they really worked hard. Mustaf worked hard on fronting a la Abdelnabi. If Duke swings the ball, they'll get that shot on the weak side.
Hurley 25 out of 67 coming into this season on 3-pointers. Maryland will have the ball underneath their basket. Jesse Martin will play it in. Both teams kind of feeling each other out here in the early going. Walt Williams inside. At 6'8", he really likes to do that. Take those smaller guys guarding him inside, and he was successful that time.
Well, he likes to do it because he does it so well.
Exactly. Abdelnabi can't find the handle. Walt Williams can. Here comes Maryland. Martin double team.
Good hands.
Henderson with the steal for Duke. Hurley open for a moment, now drives on the baseline. Hurley and Williams tie it up. A little bit of a size mismatch there, but a good job underneath by Bobby Hurley.
That's when you'd like to see the jump ball still in effect. You see one of those. See if Hurley, with all his competitiveness, could get up there and at least get a hand on the ball on the jump ball. Williams that time just swung him right around on the baseline.
Robert Bricky is back into the Duke lineup. Greg Kubek will take a rest. Walt Williams. Oh, Walt Williams off balance. Great shot from the free throw line. Williams with 4. He's 2 for 2 in the game. The double team worked that time, Terry Gannon. Bobby Hurley couldn't get through, and the turnover gives the ball to the Terrapins.
Well, you learn it in CYO ball. The last thing you want to do is go across half court, then pick up your dribble in the trap. See right there, he's got the sideline as another defender. The half court line was right behind him. The worst place you can be in a trap.
Duke 3 turnovers, Maryland 2. Williams, or Bustaph, excuse me, down low this time. 3 points for Gerard. And Maryland's largest lead at 4.
Mike, the defensive intensity for Duke is not what it was in that first game and not what it is a lot of times. Maryland really able to drive to the basket early.
Maryland is on a 6-0 run, Terry. Foul that time was called on Jesse Martin. That is his first on the 6'4" sophomore from Roxbury, Massachusetts. 9-5, Maryland leads. Robert Bricky slams inside.
There you go. Forget chemistry. When he does those things, you'd like to have him back no matter what.
That's one of the great reasons you like to have Robert Bricky back in the lineup. What a super athlete he is. Martin loses the handle, and the ball goes out of bounds. That turnover will give the ball to the Duke Blue Devils. 15:49 left to play in the first half. Maryland leads Duke 9-7. Now a word from our good friends at Budweiser.
There's a great example of the Maryland offense. That's the key for them. 90 points a game when they win, only 68 when they lose. You see the field goal percentage, the difference there. And on the defense, not much of a difference. 73 to 77 and 40 to 46. They have offensive lapses. That's what kills them.
Full court pressure and a turnover gives the basketball to Maryland. Great play on defense by the Maryland Terrapins. They're playing well on both ends of the floor. Martin gets it inside. Abdelnabi with the rebound for Duke.
Like, what a rebound, too. There was no one going to take it away from him that time.
Hurley working against McCoy. And Tion's going to be called for the personal foul. First foul on Tion McCoy, the junior from Hammond, Indiana. Harry Williams. Exactly.
He's got 26 seconds to start sweating and take off the jacket. My prediction.
Your prediction doesn't work, right?
Oh, look at this.
And another turnover gives the ball to the Maryland Terrapins.
Another turnover, and Greg Kubek comes right off the bench for Mike Krzyzewski. Abdelnabi goes and sits down.
Duke has 5 turnovers in the game. Maryland's 3. Maryland with a 9-7 lead. Williams against Hurley. Lob inside. Good defense by Christian Laettner.
You know, that's a pass that's just not going to get there. When you start your offense out top, the top of the key, you've got to make the pass to the wing before you lob it down low, especially because Duke really helps well on the weak side.
Tony Massenberg with 2. He's got 4 in the game. And Maryland's back up to a 4-point lead. Those 5 turnovers for Duke have come in only 10 possessions. Not good statistics. Henderson in the lane. Oh, great move inside by Henderson. Missed the shot. Kubek with the follow. And it's Massenberg coming down strong with the rebound.
Woodstock grabbed the rim on that first shot. I think they missed one.
Massenberg. 6 points for Tony Massenberg, and he's got this crowd at Cole Fieldhouse in gear. He's also got his Maryland Terrapins out in front by 6, and there's another turnover. Walt Williams, and I believe he stepped on the sideline. Jerry Donahue right there to make the call.
Not much of a protest from Jerry Williams. It was right in front of him. You know, against that 1-3-1 trap, and Duke worked on it all day yesterday. They worked on it at great length yesterday in practice because the first game in Cameron, Duke actually turned the ball over 25 times. They won by 11, but the run that Maryland made was in the second half, and because of that 1-3-1 trap, they've struggled against it today, too.
Laettner for 3.
He's so good. 6'10", 240. He's out there. Same thing with Mustaph. You got 2 guys who are such great athletes today at 6'10" on the court. Good defense by Brian Davis, who's just coming to the game for Duke.
And And that's one of the reasons he's in there, along with Billy McCaffrey. Another one of those hot freshmen for the Duke Blue Devils. Davis.
There he goes.
Here is Davis all the way. And Davis. Boy, that'll light a fire under somebody in a hurry.
You think he meant that one?
Wow.
You knew what was going to happen from the half-court line. Brian Davis came into Duke as a 6'5 freshman. He's now up to 6'7. They say he may go to 6'9 or 6'10. We're talking about another David Robinson type story where the guy comes in at 6'4, 6'5 and ends up 6'10. What a leaper, too. They say he is that close. My fingers are, what, half an inch apart from being a Robert Bricky leaper.
Davis, only a sophomore from Bladensburg, Maryland. One of several players on this Duke team with Maryland connections. Williams works against Hurley, gets it into the forecourt.
Bricky had Jesse Martin in the man-to-man. Martin had a big game. He drives well to the hoop. That's why he plays well against Duke.
Leitner's good defense on Tony Massenberg.
Get out of the hole!
Almost a steal by Robert Bricky. Duke has turned up the defensive pressure here a notch, Terry, and it seems to have made a difference in their play.
Yeah, but at Bricky that time, I think it was almost a steal because of that knee. I think if he was at full strength, he'd have had that thing and he'd have gone down here and he'd done a 360 and broken a backboard, whatever. But the knee really sort of slows him up. I don't think he's quite at 100%.
As we saw in that dunk a few minutes ago, he can still get up there. Inside, loose up. Over Bricky. 5 points for Gerard Mustaf. Maryland is shooting 70%, 7 out of 10. You can't do much better than that. This is Leighton. Brian Davis. Billy McCaffrey, good shooter, just come into the game a moment ago. Bobby Hurley will reset the Duke offense now. Davis to Bricky. Jesse Martin with the quick hands inside. Martin was able to knock it out off of Robert Bricky. Good play all around by Jesse Martin.
Yeah, good hustle by Bricky, too. On the defensive end, when Maryland is in there and Phil Henderson is not for Duke, they're able to really sag inside. As you see the points in the paint, Maryland with 11, I told you that was the key. But when they can sag and not have to cheat out on too many guys, when Henderson is out of there, they're more effective defensively. Lewis just in the game. He's fouled on the way up.
Cedric Lewis, the junior from Temple Hills, Maryland. There you see Christian Leighton, guilty of the personal foul.
Good interior passing right down low. He had the angle on him. Went strong to the hoop and just a foul on Leitner. Leitner thought he went straight up in the air, but they'll call that 9 times out of 10.
Maybe a possible story later in this game, Terry. That's the second personal on Christian Leitner. And we have 12:52 left to play here in the first half.
Well, it just puts more pressure on Ala Abdel Nabi, and then the other guys, maybe a Bricky, Brian Davis, or Thomas Hill, who comes in, have to play down low. It's very tough to match up with a 6'10 Mustaf, a Massenberg, who's 6'9, and a Cedric Lewis.
Lewis, the 6'9 junior, misses both free throws. He's only shooting 56% for the season. His strength is on the defensive end. He leads the team in block shots.
Going up.
Oh, what a play by Walt Williams to take the ball away from Billy McCaffrey. But it's Broadnax breaking down the court, and Broadnax cannot catch up with it. Broadnax, the junior from Forestville, Maryland, just into the game, but could not catch up to the pass from Walt Williams.
And that's so tough when you're sitting on the bench because the coach will turn and yell at you. You're sitting right next to him. You didn't do anything, but he yells at you because the other guys can't hear him on the court.
Early shot won't go. McCaffrey to Abdelnabi inside. Broadnax is going to be called for reaching into the hand. Be the first foul on Vince.
Well, he's been a good player for them. He's a surprise. He was a walk-on, and he's come on and played really well, especially defensively. He's your basic infantry man. He's going to go down in the trenches and really gut it out inside. 3 weeks ago in a hotel in Charlottesville, before the Virginia game, Jerry Williams came to him and gave him his scholarship. He earned it.
That'll fire you up in a hurry. McCaffrey fouled in the active shooting. Foul's going to be caught on Walt Williams. Phil Henderson back in the Duke lineup. He'll give Bobby Hurley a rest. McCaffrey, the 6'3" freshman from Allentown, Pennsylvania. An 81% free throw shooter. Has really helped out this Duke team off the bench. He's been able to provide a lot of offense in some key games when they really needed it.
Kid's got the guts of a burglar. He comes in, he's a freshman just like Hurley, and I think he's gotten better since the beginning of the year. He's played against a tough competition and really progressed as a player. That's unusual right there.
Well, as you saw just a moment ago, he shoots over 80% on his free throws, and a rare miss for Billy McCaffrey.
He's got some people here from Allentown, as do a lot of the players. This is as close as Duke gets to the New Jersey, New York area, and they've got some players from that area of the country. A lot of fans in the stands from Duke.
And Billy McCaffrey missed both of them. You won't see that too often, on the road or at home.
Here's the tough defense. That's what I'm talking about. In your shirt, and everybody denies the first pass away. One pass away, they'll deny it. You got a hand on it.
Assenberg did a good job of getting by Abdelnaby, but Abdelnaby comes down with the missed shot. Here comes Duke for the chance to cut into Maryland's three-point lead.
See, now they can't sag. You've got Henderson as Bricky throws one up. Henderson and McCaffrey in the game. You can't sag off of both of those guys.
Wow. Williams for three. Walt Williams lights it up here.
He had to put a stamp on that one to get it home. That was from way out.
He's got 6 points. McCaffrey working against McCoy. Takes it all the way down. Can't find anybody to throw it to. And Maryland comes up with it. All McCaffrey saw when he turned around were white shirts. White shirts on the other end. Can't hit it. Davis down with the rebound, and he's fouled. A frustration foul on the part of Gerard Mustaf. I think Mustaf was so upset that he didn't make that shot down there, Terry, that he created what was not a very smart foul on Brian Davis.
Especially being the second foul. I thought he had a foul on his move to the hoop, to be honest with you, and then got it back, and you're right. It was just out of frustration.
11:15 left to play here in the first half. Maryland leading Duke by a score of 18-12. It looks like a moment like we're going to have a timeout, but Jerry Donahue has gone over to confer at the official table. I think he's going to call the players back out there. Now
I'm not sure what
here
the
come
problem.
the Duke players back out on
yeah.
the floor. So are the cheerleaders. Somebody's going to have to leave.
Got a feeling it might be the cheerleaders.
The Maryland cheerleaders in the middle of their routine, and the Duke Blue Devils out there ready to play some basketball.
That's like the NBA. We had a 20-second timeout there. Are we shooting the free throw? Yeah, they're in the bonus, so that was the reason. You always shoot the free throw before. You don't ever have a TV timeout take place right before the free throw occurs. So Davis got fouled down at the other end, and they'll walk down here and shoot the free throw at this end before the TV timeout.
Duke trails this game by 6 points, which is fortunate when you look at the shooting stats, Terry. Duke's 5 out of 13 for 38%. Maryland 8 out of 13, 62%.
Duke shot well.
Try to cut it down.
All year long, Mike, Duke has shot well. They're over 50% as a ball club. But against Virginia, they sagged. Virginia did and forced the outside shot, and they struggled.
Here comes Maryland trying to increase that lead. It's the largest of the game now at 6. Mustaf off the glass.
See, when Walt Williams can back his way in and get to the free throw line, he has an advantage over Hurley because he's 6'8". He can make any pass he wants. It makes it a lot easier.
Maryland is on a 7-0 run.
Nice pass.
Abdelnaby up strong, follows it strong and scores. Abdelnaby stayed with the shot.
The second time in a week that Gary Williams and the Maryland crowd have wanted goaltending. They lost the game the other night when they wanted it at the end against Clemson.
Lob inside. Great play to Walt Williams.
See, they may have to make a switch. Hurley's on Williams. The height advantage for Williams is 6'8" to 6 feet.
Walt Williams is 4 for 4. He's got 9 points in the first half. Hurley. Ball's turned over to Tony Massenberg. Here comes Maryland. Martin breaking the Mustaf. Mustaf is fouled by Brian Davis. Right now, Maryland is on a big run, and this home crowd here at Cole Fieldhouse is really into it.
really playing well. Look at the lob right here. See, Hurley is trying to guard him. There's absolutely no way he's going to stop Walt Williams from doing that. He's got to get weak side help. Somebody has to talk and pick up Williams as he goes for the bucket, or else they've got to make a switch defensively.
And give some credit, too, on that play, Terry, to Jesse Martin, who has really fit in well with this team and has become such an integral part of this Maryland basketball team.
Well, as you look at Mustaf missing the first free throw, you're right. Jesse Martin was a center in high school. He came here. He played point guard, and at the beginning of the year this year, he was at the point guard position, but he's much better inside.
Well, as you saw, neither team doing well at all from the foul line. Mustaf misses them both, but look at this. Maryland gets a rebound, Tony Massenberg. Massenberg's got 8.
His hard work down low on the free throw. Here you go, right over half court. Nice pass by Hurley to get out of that trap.
Henderson driving for Duke. Jesse Martin strong. Thomas Hill takes it away and scores. Hill, the freshman from Texas, gets his first bucket of the game, and it's the first Duke bucket in quite a while. The Maryland lead is 8. 9.5 to play in the first half.
Walt Williams out of the game. Hurley matches up a lot better with Keon McCoy.
Massenberg over Abdelnabi. Tony Massenberg. 10 points now for Tony Massenberg. And that's what the Maryland lead is, 10.
No way you can let Massenberg catch the ball down low in the paint. He catches it on the block, and now he'll run down the other end.
Leitner's got it inside from Hurley. Christian Leitner with 2.
Ditto for Leitner. If one of those guys, a Mustafa, Massenberg, or Leitner, and an Abdelnabi if they catch the ball down low on the block, there is absolutely no way you can do anything but foul him or he's going to score.
Seeing some of the best big men in the Atlantic Coast Conference playing in this game today.
Yeah, you really are. You've got to front those guys down low, play in front of them, and just get weak side help.
5-second call. Good defense by Christian Leitner and Duke. Jerry Donahue was right on it. Gary Williams says he might have missed it. 8:37 left to play in the first half. Maryland leads Duke 26-18.
The way Duke overplays every pass, especially the pass on the exterior out there, the thing that's open is for the big people to come up close to the basketball. Massenberg does a great job that time, and once he catches it down low, forget it, it's in the hoop. When you look at Tony Massenberg and all he's been through here, take a look at this, the growth chart. As a senior, 16.7, all the way down 2.9 as a freshman. Sometimes you just can't tell when you've got a gemstone in the making.
He's certainly the leader on this team. Christian Leitner, who's one of the tough big men to do, can't get it to go down, and here comes Maryland again. Tion McCoy. Bobby Hurley fought him inside, tied him up. Arrow is pointing to Duke. Hurley again dribbles by the double team. Henderson, top of the key. Phil Henderson.
First time he's really been able to get set and get an outside jump shot. They're really going to shade to him. They sag and cheat. Sag and cheat to Henderson.
Thomas Hill, who is known for his quick hands and good defensive play, got a hand in there and knocked it out of bounds.
It's fun to watch that kid play. You know, he's one of those guys who's always smiling after he makes a good play. Nice back door.
Tion McCoy did a great job, as you said, running the back door, scoring for Maryland. Leads back up to 8 now, 28-20. Henderson against Broadneck. Boy, that's quite a matchup. Inside Abdelnabi loses it. Ball goes out. It will belong to Duke. Massenberg, one of those who tried to save it. 7:43 to play, first half. Maryland has an 8-point lead. Right now, a good word from our friends at Budweiser. Mike Hogwood and Terry Gannon back with you at Cole Fieldhouse in College Park. Yes, there are some happy fans here for the University of Maryland Terrapins. Their Terps out in front of Duke by 8 points. During halftime, we'll have the Mazda game summary. A look at first period action, which so far has been pretty much in favor of the Terps in the white shirts. Thomas Hill for 3. Hill with 5 points in the game, and if he can offer some offense to this crew, yeah, it would really be a big plus because he's such a good defensive player.
He's in there for his defense, his quickness. He gets his hands on the ball, a good athlete. If he can hit a few shots on the offensive end, that's icing on the cake.
Evers Burns just into the game from Maryland, misses a shot. Here comes Duke.
Duke's got to find a way to get the ball down low. Christian Laettner had a bucket down low. See, they're just struggling getting the ball in there. And they don't shoot well when they don't get in a position to get good shots. It's not that they're not hitting their outside shots. They're just struggling getting good shots.
We see some tough defense play today. Evers Burns on the other end from Maryland with that good defensive steal. This is Massenberg. One of his rare misses today. Massenberg's 5 out of 7 on the afternoon.
Yeah, look on his face like, how did I shoot that one off the backboard?
Good defense by Vince Broadnax. Bill Henderson lost control for a moment. You see him arguing with Jerry Donahue, and we'll take a look at it again.
They're just not real sharp today, just like the other night against Virginia. I think they've come out with some intensity, but I don't think they're sharp. You know, when you're on the road and you go from playing a late-night game to a game on Saturday, when you're away from home, it's awfully tough. If they were at home, they would be in an environment which they're used to, and the crowd could get them into the game.
Maryland is still shooting 70%, and may go down with that miss. Foul underneath.
Foul on Brian Davis.
We call on Brian Davis for Duke. It'll be his second.
The Terrapins draw a first foul.
Shooting has been a big story in this game, Terry, as Duke is still below 50%, Maryland around 70%. That's the difference in the game.
Backdoor, oh, they just missed him. They had Williams going backdoor once again on Hurley. Now they post him up. Really trying to take advantage of that height disadvantage that Hurley has.
Martin looks at the backdoor from Mustaf. Now Martin will take the shot of the Bricky. Jesse Martin.
He's been playing well against everyone, Mike, but he plays especially well against Duke because he loves to drive to the basket and hang around down low.
Good pass from Hurley to Abdelnaby, to follow by Laettner.
You can do that against the trap, against that 1-3-1 trap. One of the things you want to do is look up the court and behind. Offense.
Walt Williams trying, as we have said, to take Bobby Hurley down low, and that time Hurley stood his ground, took the charge.
Hurley's such a smart defensive player. He uses his feet. He beats him to the baseline. There's no doubt about that. You saw the arm going out. Williams just pushed him up. You see the quick feet by Hurley right here. Yeah, he just put the shoulder right into him. And that's one place where he can stay with him. I mean, defensively, he's got the quickness to stay with him. But if Williams takes him down low for a lob or to post him up, it's tough.
Laettner, Brian Davis. Mike Anderson just into the game for Maryland. Has it taken away by Bobby Hurley. Hurley's going to be called to the foul. Anderson, the senior from Maryland, Capitol Heights, Maryland, just came into the game. Picks up a foul from Bobby Hurley.
It's one of those where Hurley grabbed the ball afterwards. If it was a playground, said, that's my ball, I'm going home. You call a foul like that, I'm going home and taking my ball with me.
Anderson will be going to the line for 2 shots. The announcers for this game are selected and compensated by Raycom Sports and Entertainment and JP Sports. And the use of this broadcast without the express permission of Raycom and JP Sports is prohibited. Anderson, a 71% free throw shooter, hits his first.
How about this kid, Anderson? He went to DeMatha. He was in the backcourt with assistant coach from Maryland, Mike Galen. He's on the football team. December 11th was his first practice. They brought him on to play the next day against Coppin State. He's really provided a lot of emotion for these guys. Gary Williams talked about some of the older guys like Massenberg, and maybe thought it was too cool to raise a fist and yell and scream, and Anderson came out and really provided that.
Other than emotion, he's also provided some quickness, especially on the defensive end of the floor for Maryland. 32-25. Our score, Maryland leads, and Anderson is going to be called to the block that time. Bobby Hurley's got a little quickness, too.
Yeah, I'd say so. Everybody's got the haircuts these days. The barbers must love the ACC. You know, everybody's got the Ollie North thing. Bobby Hurley, McCaffrey's got one. That guy doesn't have one. I don't think you'll see him have one, although we know Terry Holland had one after the win the other night.
I was going to say, that's the haircut I want to see. Terry Holland's flat top. I'm sure many of you saw it in an earlier game today.
I don't know what happened. Hurley ended up about 3 feet to the left. of the free throw line that time. He sort of faded, almost like he got fouled on his free throw. Watch him on this one, see if he goes straight up and down. He's got a little bit of bounce in his free throw.
That's faded away. Abdelnabi had a hand on it, but Maryland comes down with Broadnax in the lane. Brian Davis strong for the rebound for Duke. Here come the Blue Devils. Abdelnabi. Lakeland. And Mustaf gets it amongst a bunch of trees for Maryland. Evers Burns, little strong.
Look at the scrambles out here on the board, down on the floor. Here goes Davis.
That's the second one of those we've seen today from Brian Davis.
And I'll tell you something, Bricky and Davis were nose to nose after that. Davis is out here, I mean, he's playing with heart. I think this crowd's got him fired up. He thinks he's in Cameron Indoor. I mean, he just rose and rose. He got called for the offensive foul, but it's a play like that when they count the basket that can get a team fired up on the road.
That basket made this a pretty tight basketball game again. The margin now only 4, 32-28. 4:45 to play first half. And Anderson will try to redeem himself at the free throw line.
You know, and Anderson goes to the line, but I'll guarantee you tomorrow when they watch the film, he won't want to watch that. You know, there's nothing more embarrassing than to get punched on, as they call it. He's underneath. He took the charge, but when Davis rose up above, tomorrow the guys will be all over him. Guarantee it.
Anderson turned into a pretty good free throw shooter. He's got 3 from the line today. He's used to taking hits, though, being a tailback on the football team. He knows how to take that stuff inside from the big guys.
Well, that's why he's on the team. I mean, to take a charge like that, give up your body. I mean, Davis comes flying at you. Now, how many guys would stand there and let him just run right into him, or over him, as it was?
Anderson with 4 off from the line. As you saw a moment ago, his best game has been against Duke. He had 8 points last time these two played. Brick
got hit.
Broadnax has it for Maryland. Anderson looks to his coach for the play and now runs the offense for the Terps.
Spread the court. They'll play the triangles on both sides. Good job getting the ball low.
Avoiding the 5-second call. Nice pass to Broadnax. Offensive foul. Good job, Christian Laettner. Now remember, Laettner has 2 fouls. So he was taking a chance at picking up number 3, but it was a pretty smart defensive play.
That is a chance to take. Watch Mustaf drive to the bucket, though. In between the traps, the dish to the right. The guy's 6'10", and that's a chance that he took, but it's a good chance to take, to draw a charge like that. That's a good defensive play.
Abdelnabi scores. Give the assist, though, to Robert Bricky. That was a great pass inside.
They draw within 4, and remember, the thing that kills Maryland is the offensive drought. Against Clemson and Georgia Tech, the last 2 games, they went 8 minutes straight without scoring a bucket.
Massenberg with a Laettner. Mustaf has it. Gerard Mustaf has been silent for the last 6 or 7 minutes. He makes his presence felt there for Maryland.
See down here if Laettner gets a shot from the outside. A nice cut by Bricky.
Fouled on the way up by Tony Massenberg. Only the first foul on Massenberg. Bricky will go to the line.
Beautiful cut by Robert Bricky. On the offensive end of the court down here for Duke, Laettner had a shot a couple times. As Maryland really cheats down low on Abdelnabi, if they swing the ball to the opposite side, they can get a shot. They had it earlier with Hurley. They can do it with Laettner, although he's out of the ball game right now. Whoever's over here, Kubek or good shooter from the wing, see if they can swing the ball next time down and get him a shot.
Bricky hits, as you saw a moment ago, just over 70% of his free throws. Got 3 points here in this ball game. Since he came back in the game against Notre Dame, Terry, he's scoring well below his 13.2 per game average. But as Coach K said in the pregame today, it may take him a couple more weeks before we see the Robert Bricky of old.
Hey, it's timing. It's not football. We just go out and hit each other. This is basketball. Finesse.
3:32 to play in the first half. Maryland leads Duke by 4 points. Mike Hogwood and Terry Gannon back with you. Maryland leads Duke as we come down the final 3.5 minutes of this first half. The Terps 10-1 when shooting over 50% from the field, and they're doing that today, Terry.
Shooting great from the outside. 15 of 26, 13 of 26. Duke has picked it up a little bit, too. They're shooting right around, that is right at 50%, as a matter of fact. They were way down there at about 33% earlier. That's pretty good math. That was a history maker.
Maryland a 4-point lead in the basketball. Martin. Short. Ball goes out off of Tony Massenberg. It belonged to Duke.
You know, another statistic, and I don't live by statistics, but Duke is 17-0 when they're up at halftime, only 1-4 when they're down.
Henderson, a great double pump, and then the shot. Phil Henderson with 4.
Big 3 minutes right here. Coaches always point to the last 3 and the first 3 of the second half, the last 3 of that first half.
Hurley calls for the block on Mike Anderson. Second foul on Bobby Hurley.
9-scored foul. You don't want to pick up too many of those.
This is as close, Terry, as Duke has been since the beginning of this basketball game. Anderson, who's been deadly from the free throw line, will try to get a little more breathing room on that scoring margin.
Wouldn't be surprised to see Walt Williams back in there in a bit. Anderson and Keon McCoy at the guard. With Williams in there, they really have an advantage over Hurley when they take him down low.
Mike Anderson is 5 of 5 from the free throw line, trying to go 6 of 6. The rest of the Maryland team, 1 out of 6. Make that 5 of 6. But needless to say, he has been deadly from the free throw line. Here's Bricky. Great block by Mustaf. Jesse Martin. Kubek with good defense to come up with the ball for the Duke Blue Devils.
Off balance. Tough shot to hit when you're on the run, a little bit off balance. Here comes Maryland, a windshield wiper game this last minute.
Gerard Mustaf. The M&M boys, as you call them, Terry, have been dangerous inside. Mustaf and Massenberg.
See if Duke can really try to set up that half-court offense right now. Get something down low. Get the ball to Abdel Nabi. Swing it and get it inside.
Phil Henderson misses a 3. Mustaf with the rebound. Mustaf in the first half, 5 out of 7 from the field, 11 points.
As we said, those two struggled, Massenberg and Mustaf in that first game. The reason why Duke got an 18-point lead and hung out.
The other end, Massenberg.
You know, that's why he's so tough. I mean, you go down low, he's tough down there, he's too strong for you, and he can hit the top of the key jump shot. Where do you guard him? Where do you cheat to?
Hobbling on the inside.
There you go. Swung the ball nicely, moved it side to side. When you move the ball side to side, it's really tough for the defense to get back on the blocks. When the ball goes to this side over here, nice pass inside.
I think Abdelnabi really seems to have worked on is that little turnaround hook shot. Anderson finds Martin. Martin fights through heavy traffic, takes it inside. Ricky will be called for the foul. Martin will go to the line. May have noticed this, Mike Anderson has done a pretty good job of running this team for the last 5 or 6 minutes. So good that Walt Williams has had a lot of time on the bench.
He goes out in the lineup right now. He has, though. One of the things, you know, defensively he's so quick, but offensively you worry about his decision-making because he hasn't played, but since December 11th. So you wonder about that as you see Kubek going out with 2. Of course, Leitner has 2 as well. And this guy's really done a nice job. 4 guys have been in double figures for most of the year. Walt Williams, Tony Massenberg, Jesse Martin, Gerard Mustaf. Doesn't the well.
Martin with a great future ahead of him here at the University of Maryland. Major in family studies. Says he right now wants to go to graduate school when he graduates. That's a couple of years and a lot of basketball down the road. 2 free throws, and it's 43-36.
Good no call. 2 guys, one from Maryland, one from Duke, stepped in the lane before he even let that one go. It's like a book shot of the team.
Joe Cook into the game now for Duke. He has a block by Massenberg. And that's Everett Burns with the rebound.
What a block by Massenberg. He's got 27. That's his 28th on the year. Keep going. Deion McCoy started to go back door. Just keep going to the hoop. Nice idea, but you got to follow through.
Everett Burns made that pass, the freshman from Baltimore. We've got to look at our two coaches, Krzyzewski and Williams. Both of them done a fine job this year. Joe Cook beats the pressure from Deion McCoy. He's double teamed. Thomas Hill. Maybe a goaltending call. Indeed it is, says Jerry Donahue.
Yeah, ball was up there. They called the goaltending. Barry Williams upset. He thought that he had one earlier in the game that wasn't called. Of course, when you lose a game on one of those that you think should be called too, like the other night against Clemson, sort of sticks in the craw.
Final 25 seconds of the first half. Hill with 7 points for Duke. He's 3 for 3. Been a big force here in the first half.
Shot clock is off. They'll try to handle the ball here in this spread offense, and then maybe Jesse Martin will drive the basket, or Deion McCoy looks for the little jump shot or the dish.
McCoy behind his back, throws it up. Nah. Massenberg threw it up off balance at the buzzer. It was a little strong, but the crowd here at Cole Fieldhouse on its feet. They're Maryland Terrapins. Our surprising fourth-ranked Duke at the half. Our score is 43-38. We're back in College Park, Cole Fieldhouse, 43-38. Maryland out on top of fourth-ranked Duke. Terry, I might say that this might be some of a surprise, but Duke coming off the loss on Thursday night, they still don't seem to be quite in sync, and Maryland, on the other hand, is playing an excellent basketball game.
Maryland did come out playing well right off the bat. I mean, they got the big crowd, everybody outside camping out for this game, and it's something that they haven't really had in a while. This year is the first year they've had that in a while. Just pumps you up. Gary Williams out here before the game getting ready with the crowd, and it carried over to the game. I think they've been very active defensively. That 1-3-1 half-court trap has been effective. Done a nice job down low, sort of keeping the Duke guys away from the board. Ala Abdelnaby, Christian Laettner really didn't dominate inside the way they did back at Duke. So that intensity is there. I think Duke, they might have struggled a little bit because they're tired. Second half, the first 3 or 4 minutes, though, will tell for Duke whether they've got it back and they're bouncing back.
And that's my next question to you, Terry. Do you think Duke is a tired basketball team? They did play the 9 o'clock game in Charlottesville on Thursday, but Charlottesville's not that long a trip to College Park.
Yeah, but it's awfully tough when you're on the road, and especially when you get beat. The game ended about 11:30 on Thursday night. It's a tough loss. You have to come back the next day. You don't have much time to prepare, and you're not at home. Sometimes when you're at home, the crowd gets you up when you start the ball game. You don't have that on the road. In fact, the crowd's against you.
Well, it's time now for the Mazda game summary, brought to you by Mazda Cars and Trucks. It just feels right. You talked about the M&M guys for Maryland, and both of them played well.
Yeah, especially the 1M, Massenberg. Watch him right here. When you get the ball down low, if Tony Massenberg gets the ball, there's nothing Abdelnaby can do but to just stand there and put his hand up. He's so good, so strong down low in the paint, and he's been really effective today. Now watch on the defensive end. This isn't supposed to happen against Abdelnaby. You talked about that little jump hook. Massenberg, what timing. He goes up, blocks the shot, then stays in there tough and creates the bad shot by Abdelnaby. Defensively, I mean, that's just a great possession by Maryland and by Massenberg. That's what they've done. They've handled Duke down low.
He's got 12 points in the first half. He's been a big difference. We talked about Duke and their chemistry. Robert Brickey coming back into the lineup. That doesn't seem to me to be the only problem with Duke in the first half, the chemistry, although it might have been a little bit of a problem.
Well, it's tough to tell, I really think, because what happens is that your substituting pattern, first of all, is thrown off, although Mike Krzyzewski really doesn't have a solid one. He sort of goes game by game. But I think what happens is you don't know how to react to Robert Brickey. You've got to get used to playing with him once again. And it's not the same Robert Brickey. He's not doesn't have the speed that he used to have, doesn't jump quite as well. And it's just hustle that he's doing it on. So you have to adjust to all those things. It just takes a while to do that.
All right. Well, Duke Blue Devils had some problems scoring early in this first half. Then later in the first half, they started shooting a lot better and running their offense a whole lot better, Terry.
That's how they made their run, I think. Here you see Hurley driving against that 1-3-1 trap, which you can do. When you split the trap, guys are going to be open down low. Good pump fake by Ala Abdelnaby. He followed it up. That's what they need to do. They need a guard like Henderson or Hurley to split that trap, and if they do and look past that 1-3-1 trap down low, they've got guys open.
Right, and it's plays like that is the reason that Duke was able to cut that lead from 10 points down to 5, which is where we stand at halftime right now. What has Duke got to do, you think, in the second half to jump out and get over the hurdle a little bit?
First of all, the emotion. We talked about that before the game. Really important. The first 3 minutes to come out and make a run. Secondly, I think they need to be more patient offensively. Move the ball. The couple times that they moved the ball, swung it from side to side, they got someone open down low, or they got the weak side jump shot. Those two things, I think, right off the bat, they have to do to get back in the game. It's only a 5-point game. They're not out of it, but right off the bat, set the tempo.
If the M&M boys, though, continue to play well, it could be another great day for Maryland. Our score at halftime is 43-38. We'll be back in a moment, but first, these messages from the Atlantic Coast Conference.
From the D.C. Beltway through Tobacco Road to the hub of the South, winter means basketball in the Atlantic Coast Conference. The ACC has dominated NCAA play in the 80s with the most wins, most appearances, and the highest winning percentage of any conference. It's basketball at its best, the Atlantic Coast Conference.
In basketball, when you make the front end of the one-on-one, you get a second shot. In life, if you can't read, you're out of the game. Make sure you're in the starting lineup, stay in school, use your public library, and read.
College Park, Maryland, Cole Field House. The site of our game between Maryland and Duke. Maryland on top at halftime, 43-38. We'll be back with more halftime activities from College Park in just a moment. We're back in College Park. Mike Hogwood along with Terry Gannon. Maryland leads Duke at halftime, 43-38. Duke, of course, trying to rebound after that tough loss on Thursday night at Virginia. Maryland trying to come back after a heartbreaker Wednesday night at Clemson. I think we've got an exciting second half of basketball ahead of us. Atlantic Coast Conference basketball on Raycom Sports and Entertainment and JP Sports will continue after these messages from your local ACC stations.
Raycom Sports and Entertainment and JP Sports exclusive coverage of ACC basketball is brought to you by Mazda, Ollie Farms, Lowe's, Gillette, and by Ford.
Mike Hogwood and Terry Gannon back with you. Stay tuned, fans, for the Holly Farms Players of the Game Award, brought to you by Holly Farms, America's #1 brand of fresh chicken. Holly Farms will contribute $1,000 to the Atlantic Coast Conference to be distributed among the member institutions under a conference-approved plan. That's the Holly Farms Players of the Game to be awarded near the conclusion of our broadcast. Now it's time for our halftime stats brought to you by U.S. Air.
You see Duke shooting only 44%. They usually shoot 50% on the average. Maryland shooting the lights out at 56, almost 57%. The three-point shots, Duke had a few more. Free throws, look at that, only 43% for Duke. They're a much better free throw shooting team than that. The rebounding advantage goes to Maryland. That'll be a key, the people down low. And 14 turnovers in the first half by Duke against that 1-3-1 trap. One of the reasons that they're down right now.
Well, the largest lead for Maryland in the first half was 10. The score at halftime, 43-38. The difference now 5. One interesting note, Terry, for Duke, from the field, their starters 10 of 27, 37%. The bench, 6 of 9, 67%. As you get a look at Mike Krzyzewski. Obviously a look of concern on his face, but he's got to be happy the way the guys on the bench are playing.
Well, when you get a guy like Brian Davis, all he does is dunk. So it's kind of hard to miss those off the bench. He's done that today, had 2 big ones.
Thomas Hill was 3 for 3 as well. Maryland with the ball to start the second half of play. Tony Massenberg, Jesse Martin. Once against Robert Brickey, down low to Walt Williams. Bobby Hurley is going to be called for the personal foul on Walt Williams. Hurley seems to be having a little trouble with Walt Williams. It may be the size or whatever it is. He seems to be having a little problem.
Sure, down low, you've got Walt Williams, who's 6'8". I mean, any 6-foot guard would have trouble with him. And Williams sat out much of the latter part of the first half, and that's when Duke started to make their run, because they can take him and go down low defensively and really put Hurley at a disadvantage. When you have guys like Keon McCoy and Mike Anderson in there, he can guard those guys both down low and outside.
Hurley has 3 personal fouls. And again, we're in the opening minute of the second half. Nice pass inside to Massenberg. The move stop. Great teamwork on the part of the Maryland Terrapins.
Yeah, they really create that weakness on the weak side because as Duke overplays the inside pass to Massenberg, which they have to, the guy from the weak side has to come over, and that leaves Mustaf open.
Ryan Davis, who's starting the second half, along with Robert Bricky, Christian Laettner, Ala Abdelnaby with the ball, to Laettner in the paint.
They need him in there. He's such a key for them, both from the outside and the inside. As we said, Ala can drop people down low and really create weaknesses in the defense and open up the shots for Laettner.
Mustaf. Davis down with the rebound. That time down, Terry, they had Davis guarding Williams. Here's a long pass to Abdelnaby. He's going to be fouled by Jesse Martin. Hurley had switched off to McCoy, and Davis was guarding Williams. We'll have to see how that looks.
Well, there's nothing that really makes a coach madder than when his big people get beat down the court. Abdelnaby just beat to be one right down the court that time. And defensively, as a coach, that's his sheer hustle and heart. I mean, there's no X and O involved in that.
Ala Abdelnaby hits his first free throw. He's got 7 points. Only 3 for 8 from the field today. And he is the leading field goal percentage shooter on this team at 62% on the season.
See if Duke right off the bat here really tries to put the pressure on. Just turn up the heat on Maryland, try to create some turnovers that first 3 minutes.
Martin's shot is blocked by Robert Bricky. But Bricky's going to be called for the personal foul.
Again, Robert Bricky just maybe a half step slower than he was. It'll just take him some time. He's laughing about it. He doesn't think so. He thought he had it all cleanly.
Duke definitely with a quick team in there now. With Davis and Bricky. Along with Laettner, Abdelnaby, and Bobby Hurley. Jesse Martin's first point of the second half. He's got 5 on the game. Terry, as you mentioned earlier, he's been a real plus for this team, scoring in double figures on the season, averaging 11.1 points per contest.
They've taken the crowd out in the second half. The crowd really hasn't been loud so far.
Laettner on the drive. Bricky goes up. We'll have another foul inside on Maryland. Robert Bricky will go to the line. Tony Massenberg, I believe.
Those two guys, Bricky and Davis, they'd have to drive you crazy when you're down there trying to rebound because they jump so well and they're so quick going to the basket. They slash to the basket with the ball and without the ball. And if you're 6'10", 6'9", like a Mustaf or a Massenberg, you're looking around trying to find those guys. They're so quick and they jump so quickly, it's hard to do.
Bricky trying to cut his 5-point lead down a little bit. Terry, I'll tell you, when you talk about Maryland and the crowd, you mentioned they were here at dawn this morning. There's a different atmosphere on this campus this year. Look at this statistic of how many more fans are here this year than were here last year. It's really a neat thing to see.
They're so supportive. We were at practice yesterday, and the entire swim team came out in their little Speedos and little shower caps that they wear and did a big cheer for the team out here. And Gary Williams and the players turned to him and thanked them. That's the kind of support you love to have.
Abdelnaby down with the rebound after the Walt Williams miss. Duke a chance to cut further into this Maryland lead. Crowd thought Abdelnaby walked. He missed the shot, and here's Maryland.
Should have been ready. Tough pass to handle, but Keon McCoy, really a great idea. He had to shake and bake on Hurley and sort of shook him off, and then bam, the drop. Watch right here. Shake and bake right here. You go back, and the drop off. Tough to handle, but he's got to be ready for that pass. A good idea.
Well, if anybody doubted the jumping ability of Robert Bricky, we certainly saw it on that play, Terry. But he went a little too high, called for goaltending on the shot by Tony Massenberg.
I'd like to do that just once. Be able to play like Bricky once. Just jump like him one time. That's all I want.
Get up there, you get scared about coming down. Maryland leads it by 6 now. Laettner's open. Walt Williams down with a rebound for Maryland.
Half a second late. He had him open right away. And what happens sometimes as a point guard, you don't want to turn your head. You don't want to shield yourself and cut off one half of the court. Williams did that. He looked to the right that time, had McCoy open right away, and was just half a second late getting him the basketball.
Now, you talked about quick teams, Terry. Abdelnabi has just gone out. Thomas Hill in to replace him. So you have Hill, Davis, and Brickey all on the floor at the same time for Duke. Martin misses. Walt Williams with a strong follow inside.
That's where they may get hurt. They put in the quick lineup, but you really get hurt down low with the side.
Thomas Hill, 4 for 4 today. He's got 9 points.
That's why we're paid to analyze. You can't figure this stuff out. You know, we talk about all the stars, Leitner, Abdelnabi, and all those guys, and then he comes off the bench and hits 4.
Williams, nice pass inside to Tony Massenburg. Ball hung on the rim for a moment, but as you hear from the crowd and saw, it went down, and Massenburg's got 14. Leitner.
That's a no-no. If you sag in the middle, you can't sag off of that guy. He's the guy that you cheat to.
Both teams trading baskets now. 53-47 our score. Williams, 5 out of 6 from the field today, 11 points. Foul's going to be called on the Duke Blue Devils. Give this man some credit, too. Gary Williams did a great job of getting his team prepared today to play Duke.
Well, they have all the outside distractions, and I think it may bother him more than the kids because he had to stand there 2 days ago for 2 hours and answer questions from the press. I mean, nobody wants to go through that, so there is a bit of a distraction. But for the kids, and he talked about this, that's their release on the basketball court. They can get away from all that out here.
Loose stop inside, and that little turnaround jump hook is really tough to stop. Lustop's got 15 points today.
Williams got the 2-3. Good sag in the middle. There he goes.
Jesse Martin to Williams. Maryland has just equaled their largest lead of the game. It is back up to 10 on that bucket by Walt Williams, 57-47.
Now here as a coach is where you make a decision. Do you call a timeout or not? Mike Krzyzewski says no. We've been in enough tough games on the road. My ball club knows what to do.
Keon McCoy is going to be called for bumping into Bobby Hurley. 15-27 left to play in this basketball game. They're rocking at Cole Fieldhouse. The Terrapins lead it by 10. Now a word from our good friends at Budweiser.
Terps trying to make everybody happy. First of all, they try to make the crowd happy, and they get it done. Walt Williams on the fast break gets it back for Martin. Goes up, twists, turns. I'll give him a 9.8. Now this one, though, this makes their coach happy, Gary Williams. Getting the ball down low in the paint. Mustaf and Massenburg have been fantastic. They've got 33 points in the paint.
As you see the difference in the paint, and that's a large reason why the difference on the scoreboard is 10 points at 57-47. Duke will try to cut into that lead right now. Phil Henderson with the ball. He's back into the game. Did not start the second half for Duke Blue Devils. Leitner rattles it in.
I'll tell you something, too. On those rims, when you have the old breakaways, they're like sewers. I mean, that thing hit the front of the rim, the back of the rim, the side, the other side, and went in.
Sometime when we have a half hour, they'll be, that's like a sewer.
Yeah, it all runs down into the sewer. You know.
I hear you. Massenburg from Maryland. Tony Massenburg has 18 points, Terry.
Yeah, I mean,
what a game.
Again, if you allow him to catch the ball, forget it. Run down the other end.
Boy, he really back up to 10 there.
Yeah, really battle down low, too, with Leitner and Massenburg. Watch them battle right here for position. They're fronting him right here with Massenburg. They get weak side help. Tough shot.
Davis misses. Leitner had it knocked away. Mustaf with it now. Gerard stops. Oh, what a follow by Massenburg, but it didn't go. Davis on the other end to Leitner.
4-point swing. He had the dunk, hit it off the heel. Good outlet pass off the heel of that basket for Duke.
It really turned into a run-and-shoot basketball game. Fast-paced.
Watch Williams down low against Henderson. There's no way Henderson can guard him if they get on the ball.
Hill fell off of Martin. Martin had a free shot at the bucket but missed it. Hill's first miss of the game. Davis follows. Massenberg finally corrals the iron for Maryland.
His presence was felt.
Massenberg. Hill fights for the rebound. He's got it. It's going to be a whistle. And a foul called on Maryland. Terry, I want to tell you, though, this Maryland team is playing with a lot of confidence here today.
Yeah, much different than earlier in the year. Remember when they played Connecticut and turned the ball over so much? Today, they're playing smart basketball, handling the ball well. And Duke, both teams right now, neither coach can be upset with the intensity of either team, on the boards especially.
We've seen a lot of great players here today. Remember, fans, to pick up your ballot, vote for the best player in the ACC and the Diet Pepsi ACC sweepstakes. You have a chance to win a 1990 Pontiac or tickets to the ACC tournament. Ball's knocked away from Abdelawi. Hurley's got it back in the paint. Williams takes it away as Hurley tried to feed Abdelawi.
Great hands.
Leitner knocks it out of bounds. Ball will belong to Maryland. What happened back up the other end, though, Phil Henderson had fallen down, and Bobby Hurley ran right over him and fell down, too. It was like a pileup of Duke players right in front of our broadcast area. Williams. Ball goes out off the arm of Evers Burns, the freshman from Baltimore, just in the game for Maryland. Duke will have it. Greg Kubak in for the first time in the second half.
Leitner takes a seat. Abdelnaby becomes more important, as does Henderson's outside shot.
The Maryland lead, as you see, is at 8. It was at 5 at halftime. It has been as large as 10 today. Henderson. He's had a tough time shooting the basketball today. Thomas Hill has not had a bad time shooting it. He's picked up some of the slack.
The board work, that's what got that hoop. That's what got the hoop. Hill on the board, Abdelnaby on the board.
That's Phil Henderson's going to be called for a foul on Walt Williams. Phil Henderson has just scored 4 points today, well below his 17.7 per game average.
See a little huddle that's become so famous at Duke. On every free throw, here they go to the man-to-man on the out-of-bounds, which more and more teams are going to. Used to be that all they played was zone on the out-of-bounds.
Williams fell down, was able to pass it before he did. Beyond McCoy for 3. That's only McCoy's second bucket of the game, but it's a big one. Maryland backed up by 9 points. Thomas Hill, he's been red hot. He's got 11 points today in the paint.
Push on Williams, that's his 4th. Big call. Push from behind. Walt Williams' 4th foul. Not a real smart play. He has to come out of the lineup now.
And 11:55 to play.
Yeah.
It's a very, very big play because Walt Williams has been such a key to Maryland's lead. 11:55 to play. Maryland leads it 62-53. Mike Hogwood and Terry Gannon back with you in College Park. Maryland leads at 62-53. Stay tuned for Holly Farms Player of the Game Awards, brought to you by Holly Farms, America's #1 brand of fresh chicken. That's not going to be an easy selection at all in this game. Look at the turnover statistics, Terry, the difference between the first and second half.
Well, I'm sure at halftime both coaches talked about that. When you have 14 and 12 in the first half, that's kind of unacceptable.
Thomas Hill, he's got a lot of playing time, and he has been red hot. Hill is open. And Hill hits again.
You know, and great decision by Ala Abdelnaby. He had the ball down low, drew a crowd. He had a choice whether to go to Hurley or to Hill. Hill's been hot. He gave it out to him.
Hill's got 13 points so far in the game. Musta. Strong move inside. And he's got 17.
They need Leitner back in there. Two-back having trouble guarding the big guy down low.
Two-back is open.
He got hit, too. No call.
Duke is not letting Maryland pull away at all, despite Maryland's fantastic shooting from the field. Blue Devils are hanging in there. Mustaf again, he gets loose inside.
Well, they get the ball down low. You've got Walt Williams out of the game. That's when Duke made their run in the first half. So with Mike Anderson in there, I'm sure Gary Williams said, look, we've got to go down low every single time.
Henderson tries to drive by Vince Broadnax, and Broadnax, you see in your screen, is going to be called for the personal foul. Mustaf, Terry, 9 of 13 on the game. He's got 19 points. That's Broadnax's third personal. And I'm sure one of Mike Krzyzewski's worries is finding out a way to stop now Gerard Mustaf and not just Tony Massenberg inside.
Yeah, it's tough, though. I mean, it's, you know, if you had the answer to that, they wouldn't be great players like they are in this league.
Phil Henderson has been largely silent today. Hits a three-pointer. And the Maryland lead now is down to 6 points.
Good pressure.
Henderson created the steal, and he gets it back. Just like that, 2 buckets from Phil Henderson, and Duke is now within 4 points of the Maryland Terrapins.
With Williams out, they've got to really take care of the basketball. Treat it like it's gold. Every possession. And get it inside as they do right there. They got fouled. But McCoy and whoever else is playing out in the guard spot, whether it be Broadnax out there handling the ball or Mike Anderson when he's in there, really the next 4 or 5 minutes until they can get Williams back in the game, they've got to take care of the ball.
That's the second personal foul on Thomas Hill, who you see coming out of the game. Robert Brickey is in to replace him. That dunk by Henderson off the turnover a moment ago, that was the first turnover of this half for Maryland. Big part of this basketball game.
Sure.
Maryland taking care of the basketball.
Some pushing and shoving underneath, as will happen when the game gets tight.
If Leitner's called for the foul, it'll be 4.
That's where you try to hide right after you do it. You wish there was just some place to go hide right there so the official couldn't see your number. Make the call.
It'll be on Robert Brickey. It'll be the second foul on Brickey.
Ooh, big sigh of relief from the Duke bench.
Massenberg to the line. At 18 points, 7 rebounds, 19 with the free throw.
Massenberg, a talent, a guy who I think will play in the NBA, maybe a high second-round draft choice.
Has over 1,000 points in his career here in Maryland. With that 7 rebounds, he's now 1 rebound away from 600 in his career. He's got 599. Almost had 600 there a moment ago. Here comes Martin for Maryland. Martin on the feed to Gerard Mustaf. Maryland really clicking on the offensive end of the floor today.
Great decision by Jesse Martin that time. Here's the run. Here's the Maryland run. Later that time took the shot and just fell back. Nobody around the offensive board for Duke.
The other boys were right in the hands of Ala Abdelnaby.
Nowhere to
Phil
go.
Henderson misses the shot, but he's fouled. Terry, if Phil Henderson can get going offensively here down the stretch of this basketball game, is Christian Laettner really upset about something inside? There's been a lot of pushing and shoving, and I guess in a game like this, tempers sometimes do get a little short as the big guys start trying to muscle each other around, and they all have so much talent.
Yeah, and I think also for Duke, as you see Robert Brickey just trying to counsel him, say, hey, we need you this last 9 minutes and 12 seconds. Don't go off the deep end here. But for Duke, they feel like this is really an important game. At least I think they do, because they don't want to go on a losing streak. Sometimes when you go on the road, you know, they were playing at home, number 3 in the country. They were playing so well. They lose to Virginia. This is a big game for them to just turn it around, because they've got 2 games against Stetson and in East Carolina they figure to win.
Henderson has 10 points on the day. the senior from University Park, Illinois. It's hard to think where Duke would have been without Phil Henderson, who almost didn't come back to Duke this year. Those two free throws and Phil Henderson's points have kept Duke in this basketball game despite some extremely hot shooting on the part of the Maryland Terrapins. You see Thomas Hill coming back in. He's getting a lot of minutes in this game. He's got 13 points today. Anderson to Broadnex. Broadnex throw by Robert Brickey. And Brickey's going to be called for the foul.
Just stuck the leg out. Nice drive by Broadnex. Very important for Maryland right now. Gary Williams up. He hasn't sat down the whole day. Hasn't taken his jacket off, though, like I thought he would. But Maryland against Clemson had a 13-point lead in the second half and blew it here at home. So I'm sure that's in the back of their mind somewhere, as Duke is a team who plays tough man-to-man defense. They come after you, and they made the run the other night against Virginia.
Vince Broadnex has not scored today. Has now, as Terry told us in the first half, was awarded a scholarship a couple of weeks ago. Walked on here in Maryland, junior from Forestville. Terry, Maryland refuses to let Duke cut this lead under 6 or 8 points.
Duke keeps coming back at him, though. The work on the board. That's what's kept him in it.
Hurley inside. Tony Massenberg was called for leaning on the back of Christian Laettner. As you said, there is a lot of pushing going on. I think officials sometimes let a little bit of that go by, but then again, you can only do so much.
Well, the ACC, they've got the best officials anywhere. I mean, I don't care what you say. And all you want, really, is consistency. I mean, if they're going to call one foul at the beginning of the game, you want them to call the same foul at the end. And I think they've been pretty consistent here today. They've allowed some pushing to go on down underneath, but at least the players know what they can and can't get away with.
Christian Laettner has hit his average in points today. He's also cut the Maryland lead down to 7. Laettner, a tough physical player inside. He's really shown it today, battling Massenberg and Mustaf underneath the basket.
Only a sophomore. Great touch from the outside. He said physical inside. Going to be a talent. Already is.
Broadnex works against Henderson. Henderson got a hand on the ball and knocked it out of bounds.
Somebody's got to come meet the basketball. Real important right now for the big guys. If the guard is in trouble out there with the pressure defense, to come post to the basketball. Don't stay down low. They need some help.
Good man-to-man defense on the part of Duke. Ala Abdelnabi says he knocked it out off of Mustaf. Larry Limbo says, Ala, you knocked it out.
I think Larry won the argument.
Broadnex, good pass inside. When you get it down low in the paint to Mustaf like that, Terry, as you said, it's either going to be 2 points or a foul. That time it was a foul.
Hang it up. That's all you can do. They're having trouble, I think, Duke all day. What Maryland does is they run a little cut down low. They interchange and run a screen where a guy comes to the block and comes and posts up on the block. And they're having trouble down low guarding that. Whether they want to switch or stay with their man, they're just not getting it done.
Gerard Mustaf, what a great game he's had today. 21 points, 10 of 14 shooting from the field. Missed the free throw. He also has 5 rebounds to his credit. Mustaf, the sophomore from Greenbelt, Maryland, played at DeMatha High School. .8:22 to play in a basketball game. 73-66, as you see. The Maryland crowd starting to get back into this game. Laettner with 2 for Duke.
Set up by Hurley, the penetration and the dish. Hasn't done a whole lot of that today. They've played him well.
Christian Laettner looks as he's going to be the go-to guy down the stretch for the Big Blue Devils.
Nice by Massenberg. That's where the big guys got to come out for a release.
Mustaf, short. Massenberg, another rebound. And a bucket. That's just a fantastic play by a great basketball player.
Shouldn't surprise you. He's done it all year long and all day long.
Tony Massenburg today, 22 points, 9 rebounds. Abdelnaby
Off the glass. Yep.
Credit the bucket to Ala Abdelnaby. Goaltending is called on Tony Massenburg. What a game he's played. 22 points, 9 rebounds. Now a word from our good friends at Natural Light. Mike Hogwood and Terry Gannon back with you in College Park. Maryland leads Duke by 5, 7:28 to play in this game. As we get prepared for the stretch run, Duke in close games. Terry 4-3 in games decided by 10 points or less.
So it's about even, which mainly tells you that they've outscored their opponents by a wide margin most of the time. They've outscored them by 17 points. That's the average margin of victory for Duke.
Duke has only lost 4 games all year. Good speed inside of Massenburg. He's got the bucket and the foul. Tony Massenburg having one of the best games of his career today.
Yeah, I mean, how many times are they going to do it? You know, it's like a repeat. We can take it one time, just play it over and over again. Massenburg just used his body as Duke tried to overplay him. See, Leitner's on top. Abdelnaby's got to help quicker. He's got to help and get there while the ball's up in the air. He gets there a little bit late. He's got contact, and Massenburg makes the shot. He's got to get there right away.
Tony Massenburg, 25 points today, 9 rebounds. One career mark he's bested today. He's gone over the 600 rebound mark in his career. Well, the all-time greats here at the University of Maryland. You're seeing them play this afternoon. Number 25, Tony Massenburg.
Back to his zone now for Maryland. He's got to keep an eye on Henderson and Hurley.
Henderson, that shot was spotted by Broadnax, almost went in anyway.
The tendency right now for Maryland, you're up 8, but there's 6.5 minutes left in the game. You can't get tentative. Keep doing the things you've been doing like that.
Oh, my! This crowd here in College Park loves him. Tony Massenburg. 6'9" senior from Sussex, Virginia. And can he play the game around ball?
At a third M. Machine. That's what he's been today. He's been a machine. Give him the ball down there and just let him go. Turn the switch on and watch him.
He's got 27 points, 10 rebounds. That's his 8th double-double of the season. They got 28 points now. That's also the largest Maryland lead of the day. It's at 11, 81-70.
They haven't won here since 1985 against this Duke team.
Thomas Hill. I think Thomas Hill is making his presence felt on this Duke basketball team. Played a great game a couple of weeks ago against Wake Forest.
Yeah, great first half.
7 of 8 from the field today, 15 points for Thomas Hill.
Hurley doing a great job on T.N. McCoy. He finally gets the ball, but he was overplaying him, making it really tough for him to handle it.
McCoy's been really held down in this offense today, but he hasn't had the score because of this guy, Massenburg. Newstop with the ball outside. I think he took one too many going to the hole that time.
He feels like he got hit on the drive, but it was in the NBA. He would have been okay with it. Watch it right here. Does he get hit on the drive right here? A little bit of contact. Nah, nothing to call. It just takes one extra step. Throw that thing up there a little sooner. You'll be okay.
5:45. The clock starting to wind down now and become a factor in this game. Leitner. Boy, I'll tell you, when you're on the road and things aren't going your way, you do things like miss layups.
Can't buy one right now.
McCoy put his head down, tried to beat Bobby Hurley. Hurley trying to hold his position, and the foul is going to be called on Bobby Hurley.
That's a tough call. I think it's a pretty good call, but if you're a defender, you're Hurley, and you're moving your feet. He didn't use his hands at all. Watch him right here. Did a great job getting his feet in front. You try to beat him to the spot, and you just get behind him a little bit. I don't know. you know, if you call that one, you're going to have to call a lot of them, and that's his 4th foul. He goes to the bench. He moved his feet pretty well.
I think it's safe to say Bobby Hurley has had a fairly frustrating afternoon here. 4 personal fouls. He'll try to regroup, get his thoughts together. I'm sure he'll be back in the floor.
You know, and the funny thing is, in the second half, unlike the first half, when Williams went out, they extended the lead here in the second half.
The captain, his first presence here in the second half of this game. And inside to Leitner. Massenberg knocks the ball away. As if he hasn't done enough already. He comes up with the big defensive play. Lewis.
Ragtag basketball. Get it back out and set it up. Smart decision.
Phil Henderson will be called for the personal foul as Walt Williams gets ready to come back into the Maryland lineup. You mentioned the schedule earlier, and all the teams they've lost to have been pretty good teams there.
Great team. I mean, Syracuse, when they came on the floor in that Big East shootout, I thought it was a pro team. That's how big they were. Michigan on the road, that was a great game in overtime. Carolina, we all remember that game at the Dean Dome. And then the game Thursday night against Virginia.
Keon McCoy, 5 points today. As he hits the first free throw. And certainly we're not counting Duke out of this game today. 4:56 to play. That's a lot of time. And Duke has made up 10 or more points before in this amount of time.
Like Thursday night.
Exactly. Maryland back up to their largest lead again at 11. Christian Leitner for 3. Lewis, I believe, will be called for the foul inside. Cedric Lewis, junior from Temple Hills, Maryland. And Cedric will be coming out as Gerard Musaf, who was out of the game for just about a minute and a half just to get a blow and get ready for this stretch run, I'm sure, is back in.
Leitner not able to hit that 3-point shot. Right there after he shot it in the break, Ricky told him to get it up more, use your legs. And he's right. Everything's been short from the outside from Leitner.
Robert Brickey cans the first free throw.
And obviously, when you're tired, that's what happens. You got to get more leg drive in your shot. If you're missing left or right, then you've got to change something. There's something wrong. But if you're missing short or long, you make the adjustment not in the upper half of your body, but in the lower half, your legs.
Robert Brickey, who missed 8 games with that knee injury. Still not at full strength, but out of there giving it everything he's got to try to pull out a win for Duke. Jesse Martin works against McCaffrey. Great pass inside of Musaf.
Well, they are just executing against the pressure defense. I mean, you couldn't do it any better.
Leitner looks at a 3. Oh, my! Christian Leitner on the way to the floor. Hit that bucket.
He was parallel to the floor when he threw that up there.
Not only have the big guys played well, Terry, but I think the other guys done such a wonderful job of getting the ball down low to the people like Walt Williams and Jesse Martin, who's fouled by Robert Brickey as he went up.
Right. When there's pressure on the basketball, it's very hard to get a pass down low, and Duke does such a good job of that. So you don't just give credit to the inside guys, but the guards as well, as you said, getting it down low. It's done a great job.
That was the 4th personal foul on Robert Brickey. Martin to the line. 4 for 4 today. Make it 5 for 5. Thomas Hill's back in the game. Robert Brickey will lead.
Obviously now it's a free throw contest. The last 3 minutes and 58 seconds. If Maryland hits their free throws, they win.
Jesse Martin's done a good job of that today. He's hit all of them.
That's happened like 3 times today. Everyone's anticipating that and getting a leg in the lane early.
Tony Massenberg just stuck a foot in there. 3:58 to play. Can Duke come back? Right now they trail it by 10. Maryland leads 86-76.
You want to see it happen just like they drew it up on the blackboard in the locker room? Check this out. As Duke cheats right here, watch Bricky go to double team Jesse Martin. The no-look pass inside, always thinking inside. Perfect pass. He turns, and you're never going to stop him when he gets it down on the block. And they've done that all day long, Mike. Talk about points in the paint. For Duke, 16 in the first half, only 8 in the second half, 25 and 28 for Maryland. You need not look more than that if you want the story of this ballgame.
Massenberg and Mustaf. What a pair those two have been today. Every time Duke has threatened to cut this Maryland lead down, Maryland has responded. Ball hit the sideline, and it will belong to Maryland. The Terrapins lead it by 10. And you get the feeling that Duke is going to make a serious run at this game. Pretty soon, they have got to start coming up with some points.
Well, yeah, obviously, and a couple steals down here. If they go another minute, they've got to start fouling. So they're going to try to get steals for the next minute or so, and then they've got to resort to the foul. There you go.
There's a steal right there. Bobby Hurley gets it away to Brian Davis. Henderson's open. Davis finally sees him. Henderson was like a lone wide receiver, and the quarterback never saw him. After a while, Davis in. Here's another steal. Bobby Hurley. He's fouled.
Gary Williams might get a quick timeout. 2 quick steals by Duke, and they're getting back in this ball game. Here you go, a timeout. Good timeout. Good steal by Hurley once again. Heads up play. Gets fouled going to the hoop. Duke will do that to you. They come after you.
The Duke Blue Devils are making a move. 3:16 to play. A word from our good friends now at Natural Light.
ACC basketball has been brought to you by Pepsi, Food Lion, Ford, and by First Union National Bank.
Bobby Hurley will be going to the free throw line. What's Gary Williams telling his Maryland Terrapins during that timeout, Terry?
Well, I think as you look at the free throw shooting stats, he said in that timeout, look, you've handled the pressure all game long. Don't put more pressure on yourself just because we're down in the last 3 minutes of the game. You've handled it all game long. You know you can do it. Just relax and do it.
Bobby Hurley, almost an 80% free throw shooter. Freshman from Jersey City, New Jersey. Hits them both. The lead was 10. It's now 6. Full court pressure by Duke. They've got a quick team on the floor, too. This is Walt Williams. Bring it up against Phil Henderson. Coming up to the 3-minute mark.
Yep.
Is that a turnover? Yes. Yes, it is.
Right between the legs of Jesse Martin. Right in front of Gary Williams.
Maryland has had 3 consecutive turnovers now. I'm sure Gary Williams is hollering for them to regain their composure just a bit. Leitner inside. Walt Williams will be called for the foul. Leitner will go to the line with 2 shots.
And that's the mark of a team who knows what they're doing. You look at the free throw stats. Christian Leitner, 86.7. Hey, who do you follow in there? No one. I mean, look at all those guys. Over 75%, 77.6% as a team. 3rd in the nation. They're great at the line, and it's the mark of a team who knows what they're doing. They came down after the steal. They set up a play for Leitner to get it down low, and they execute.
Walt Williams has fouled out 13 points today, 6 rebounds. We just hollered some encouragement to his replacement, Mike Anderson. Leitner here will try to cut the Maryland lead down to 4. It was 10, 86-76.
That's a lot of pressure on Mike Anderson, too, coming in. You look at the Duke bench. They never gave up today. They kept coming after him on the boards, on the defensive end. They're a team that can really make some runs at you because of their defense, and they're doing it right now.
You saw the eyes, the blue eyes of Christian Leitner concentrating on those free throws. He hit them both, and that lead is 4.
It's all on his shoulders right now. He's the point guard in there. Williams is out. Mike Anderson, with not a lot of experience, he's got to handle the pressure.
Remember, he has not played competitive basketball before this season for about 4 or 5 years. That'll take some of the pressure off right there. Gerard Mustaf. Another bucket down low. Jesse Martin whistled for the foul inside.
Lucky there was a backstop, a padded backstopper. He and Henderson would have ended up in the third row. Nice pass inside by Anderson. Here you go with Mustaf down low. They can't quite get there with the double team, and he has a little jump hook. But credit Anderson with handling his pressure and getting the ball inside.
Gerard Mustaf has 26 points today. He and Massenberg have been a good part of the offense. Larry Limbo is over conferring at the scoring table about some confusion.
Both teams in the bonus. They'll be at the line. I'm not real sure what they said over there, but I know Gary Williams telling his bench. I mean, those guys catch it all game long, even when they're sitting on the bench, more than when they're out on the court.
We've been told, Terry, that Robert Brickey actually reported in for Phil Henderson, and then someone else left, and Brickey's in the game. Henderson's on the foul line.
Yeah, a little confusion there, but he switched. He changed his mind.
It's all straight now, and Phil Henderson hits the free throw.
Sure.
And our big story is that it's now a Maryland 5-point lead. It was 5 points at halftime. It was 10 points just a minute ago. The lead is now 4. And again, Walt Williams, the point guard for Maryland, is fouled out of the game.
Hurley, a great job on Anderson.
Brickey almost stole it from Mustaf.
They better get it up.
Mustaf turns it over. Here comes Duke. The Blue Devils putting on a great comeback. Henderson in the lane. Henderson hits. What a performance by the Duke Blue Devils. Terry, you see there why they are on top in the ACC. What a job they have done from being 10 points down. Now to cut it down to 2. Super play on the part of the Duke Blue Devils.
Well, they did it on the defensive end, too. And that's something that Maryland does not do well. They haven't done it well all year long. They do it better now than they used to, but that is handle the basketball. And there's so much pressure here in the last 3 minutes. Walt Williams goes out. You've got Mike Anderson in there. Hurley doing a great job denying the ball, denying him the basketball. He can't get his hands on it. That time, Mustaf had to bring it up against the pressure. It was too much for him.
At the 4-minute mark of this game, Maryland led 86-76. Since then, Terry, Duke's been on a 10-2 run. Maryland has had 4 turnovers in their last 5 possessions.
You know, they did such a great job all game long of handling the ball. Right now, the pressure's a little, it's pushed up a little more. It's full court pressure, and they don't have Williams in there. That's the problem.
Well, what is Mike Krzyzewski telling his players now? Obviously, they have to keep up the defensive pressure.
He's saying, whatever you're doing, keep it up. Keep doing it. They made that run. You know, obviously, defensively, they want to pressure the basketball as much as they can. Keep it away from Anderson. He's the one guy who really handles the rock well in there now. And Gary Williams is saying, spread the court. I think you may see someone go long here. They're denying the basketball inbounds. You may see someone go long for a pass.
2 minutes, 18 seconds left to play. Maryland leads by 2. This is Mike Anderson, football player. Hasn't played since basketball when he was in high school. Now a senior. Turnover again. Thomas Hill takes away from Jesse Martin. Here's Henderson. Brickey with the follow. And our game is tied. 1:58 to play. It is all tied at 88.
Wow. Simply wow. I mean, what a comeback. And what a run.
That is the first tie since we were tied at 5 early in the game today.
Somebody's got to help him now. There you go.
Brickey with a steal. Robert Brickey. And it'll count, and the foul will be on Tony Massenberg. What a play by Robert Brickey, who has worked so hard to come back from that knee injury and has listened to everybody say that he is not 100%. And I'll tell you one thing, this is nothing but hustle and desire right here, Terry Gannon.
Bounce pass on the perimeter. It's a tough pass. Brickey, great quickness getting to the basketball and one down here at this end. And you talk about a change in the juice going from Maryland to Duke. I mean, so quickly.
And Tony Massenberg is fouled out. I believe Tony Massenberg has 5 fouls. He does. Tony Massenberg fouls out with 28 points. Great game today for Tony Massenberg, but I'm sure he'd trade in all those 28 points for a Maryland lead right now.
No doubt about that. It'll be tough from here on out. You got Williams on the bench. You've got Massenberg on the bench.
So we've had Massenberg and Walt Williams to foul out. Robert Brickey, who's had 4 points in the last 20 seconds. That's only the second Duke lead of the game. They've leaded by 2. Thomas Hill again. The freshman from Texas with a great play. Keon McCoy's called for the foul. Gary Williams cannot believe what has happened to his Maryland Terrapins here.
Boy, how frustrating. Now, the last 2 games, they had a big lead against Georgia Tech at home, a big lead, 13 points in the second half against Clemson, and here once again a big lead. It's like, you know, the old Mission Impossible thing. This tape will self-destruct at some point. That's what they've been like the last 3 games, and it's been in the ball handling area.
Maryland has had 7 turnovers in their last 8 possessions. Hurley misses the free throw, and Brickey's got the rebound. Brickey's fouled by number 33, Evers Burns, freshman from Baltimore, into the game for Maryland. Terry, I think we also have to give a big mention today to Thomas Hill, who created that steal down on the other end. He has been really tough on both ends of the floor today.
Yeah, he hit a couple jump shots down here, too, in the first half and in the second half. He's been a big factor off the bench.
Brickey, one of the things you expect of a senior, pretty calm from the free throw line. Out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. Duke's largest lead of the game now at 3 points, 91-88. Remember, they trailed 86-76. The lead is 4. We have 1:24 left to play in the basketball game.
All right, if you're Maryland, you say, fine, we lost the lead, but we're 4 down. Get the ball inside. See, that's not a good shot.
Lift off the 3, and Brickey had the rebound.
You know, keep doing what you've been doing. I know Massenberg is out of there, but put Moustaph down low. You got Burns down low. Go inside, and then go outside if you don't have it.
Jesse Martin knocks it away from Thomas Hill. That's who they want to foul. They want to put the freshman on the line. But as you showed us a moment ago, the graphic, everybody on this team is a good free throw shooter. Hill shoots at 65%. And he has had a great day today, so I'm sure he is brimming with confidence.
Well, yeah, they'd like to foul him because he's a freshman. He shoots 65%, which is not great. You see Jesse Martin fouling out there. But that's who they want to go after. And he's got the confidence, like you said. And a lot of times with free throw shooting, it's contagious. You know, if you're on a team that shoots free throws well, everyone tends to do it. It's just contagious. It rubs off on other people.
You see a very dejected and frustrated Maryland bench now. They've got to find a replacement for Jesse Martin. He is just fouled out of the basketball game. It'll be Mike Anderson. 59 seconds left to play in the game. Duke leads 92-88. Well, we talk about the excitement of ACC basketball, Terry. We have certainly seen it here this afternoon.
Hey, how about the tournament coming up? I mean, will the ACC tournament be something else? I don't remember a year in which it was more balanced. It is balanced every year, but this year, there's no way you can figure well, right now, there's almost no way you can figure the placements, you know, the pairings and how that's going to happen. It looks like Duke will be on top, but you don't know, and I think it'll be a heck of a 3-day event.
I think you really have to give some credit to the entire Duke team here today, too, because after losing in Charlottesville on Thursday, being down most of the game here today, they could have rolled over and died, but they didn't. They hung in there. Our Holly Farms players of the games today. First for Maryland, it'll be Tony Massenberg. And for Duke, Christian Laettner. Both of them fine games today. Laettner, 23 points, 3 rebounds. Massenberg, 28 points, 11 rebounds. Today, he goes over the 600 rebound mark in his career.
A great player. You really got to feel for a guy like Massenberg. He had such a great game today. He dominated on the inside. You know, and he's a senior. He's been through so much here at Maryland. Back when Lenny Bias was here, the Bob Wade era, and now Gary Williams.
Look at that Duke scoring run. 16-2 in the last 3 minutes. The Maryland lead was 10 at 86-76. It is 92-88.
That usually happens at home. right down on the road when they're in Cameron. They had the crowd against them, never gave up, and made the run with everyone yelling at them.
Thomas Hill, 15 points today. Misses the free throw. It's not over yet. McCoy all the way. Hill blocks the follow by Burns. Burns again. Hill tapped it, but it went in anyway. Evers Burns off the bench with an impressive display inside. The 6'8" freshman from Baltimore, Maryland. Remember, Massenburg and Williams have fouled out. 47 seconds left. We said it's not over. It's not over.
No, it's not. And now the tables are turned. And now Maryland had to protect the basketball a minute ago. Well, really, just 2 minutes ago, we were talking about how they had to protect the basketball, shoot free throws. Now it's on Duke's shoulders. They've got to protect the basketball and shoot free throws as well. Right here, you've got 47 seconds left, so you've got a 2-second difference. The shot clock is in effect. They obviously can't wait the whole 45 seconds because you've only got 2 seconds to make a shot at that point. You'd like to foul someone. If Hill is in the ball game, you'd like to go after him after taking a few seconds to try to get a steal.
I'll tell you, if you're wondering how Maryland lost this lead, they had a 10-point lead just a couple of minutes ago. They had turnovers in 7 of 9 possessions. Each time, Duke would convert that turnover into points. One of the great comebacks of the ACC season. You've seen it here this afternoon. Duke leading Maryland by 2, and we've got 47 seconds of exciting basketball yet to play as Maryland will now be putting on the defensive pressure.
Okay, you look at Duke right here. Who do you foul? Hill at 65%. He'd be the obvious choice. He is in there right now. So Duke trying to spread the court. They'd like to keep it away from Hill so he doesn't go to the line.
Ricky's got it, and Broadnack's fouled him. Vince Broadnack's very quick to come up with the personal foul. Gary Williams with a little offensive-defensive substitution here.
Yeah, you try for a steal right away on the inbounds pass. You don't get it, then you have to foul, and that's what we'll have from here on out. It'll be a free throw shooting contest, not for Maryland, but for Duke.
Lustoff is in to replace Broadnax. Broadnax is in with the distinct job of committing a personal foul. You see the intense look on Gary Williams' face. He's a fighter and a battler. He's not letting his guys roll over and die at all. Robert Bricky, nothing but the bottom of the net.
Nice. He's been around 71% from the line. I bet he's better in the last minute.
Bricky already turning around, giving instructions to his teammates. That's what having him back in the lineup means, Terry. A senior leader, a guy you can really go to down the stretch.
Oh.
Maryland's down 3.
3-point shot ties it.
Hurley knocked it out of bounds. 37 seconds. Do you go for the 3 here, or do you go for the 2?
You'd love to
have another shot.
Well, you'd love to have a shot by like McCoy coming off the screen for 3 to tie it.
Lustoff's got it down low. He's got the 2, and Maryland will take a timeout. Maryland has cut it to 1, 93-92. There are 33 seconds left to play in this basketball game.
Opted to go for the 2. They went inside, got the bucket, called the timeout, and obviously they'll foul now after trying for a steal on the inbound.
Laker's got it. This is Bricky to Hill. Oh, Mike Anderson went at him 90 miles an hour as soon as Thomas Hill got the ball. Phil Henderson wanted an intentional foul, but he was going for the ball. But it was obvious that as soon as Thomas Hill touched it, that was the man they were going to foul, the freshman from Lancaster, Texas.
Well, they got who they wanted, but I'll tell you what, that's why it's a tough call for an official. You know, he went after the ball with one hand, but with the other, he just pushed him right in the back. Everyone knows in the building, there's not a person in here who doesn't know they're trying to foul at this point. So it's all a judgment call by the official.
Thomas Hill is 0 for 1 from the line today. Free throw shooting the last 5 minutes. Duke 12 of 16, Maryland 3 of 4. Hill 15 points, 7 for 8 from the field.
Nope.
Maryland's got it. 25 seconds left. They'll get a final shot. They trail by 1. This is McCoy.
No timeout. They're going right after.
McCoy.
Got it.
Mike Anderson is open. He missed it. Burns. The freshman from Baltimore turns around. It's too strong. Hurley's got it. 2 seconds left. Bobby Hurley is fouled. Wow. Maryland certainly had their opportunities, Terry. But they had the wrong guys shooting the basketball.
Well, you know, with Massenberg on the bench, you've got Williams on the bench. The only guy that's open is the guy in the corner right there, Mike Anderson. And Burns gets the rebound, does a nice job, has a little jump shot right here. Anderson's down low. Everyone cheats to Mustaf because that's who they want to go to, or McCoy on the outside, and it leaves you with very little options.
Well, 4 seconds left, and Bobby Hurley on the free throw line. There will still be, or 2 seconds right around the clock, there will still be an outside shot that Maryland will have a chance at least to tie this game. They'll get one more shot and get the ball back. Oh my, what a heart stopper this has been here in College Park today. Duke has 2 timeouts remaining. Maryland has none.
Yeah, so if they do miss off of that free throw, they've got to go right. They've just got to throw it right up. They've got no timeout.
Let's take a look now at Gary Williams' reaction as his team tried to put Maryland out in front. Patience, 15 seconds left. Hit it, Mike. Hit it, Mike. Oh, there was a steal.
Disgust at that point.
What an emotional coach. But, you know, I really like it. I like the job he's done here in Maryland and the way he has gotten everybody in this area enthused about Maryland Terrapin basketball. Look at these fans, all on their feet, all excited about what has happened here today, even though their Terps are down by 1 and only really a prayer left with 2 seconds to play.
Not a prayer, maybe a novena it would take at this point, because Duke at the line, even if they miss, no timeouts, as I said, for Maryland. They've got to just do the old the commercial where the guy takes the ball and throws it 94 feet.
Both coaches really orchestrating their players, especially Mike Krzyzewski, trying to get everybody lined up in the right position. Bobby Hurley, 1 and 1. Remember, Maryland, no timeouts. He hits the first. Well, they'd be taking a three-pointer in anyway with only 2 seconds left. Well, remember, Bobby Hurley, who has 7 points and 8 assists today, as you see. Even if he makes this one, Maryland still has a shot to send it into overtime. 2 seconds left. Here it is.
Got a kick and not a second. There was no time that went off. So still 2 seconds on that clock. Not a pro scoreboard, though, so we don't know the tenth of a second.
Mustaf's going to try to throw it long. Oh, Broadnax can't get it off. It goes! It goes!
There's no way. No, hold on. There's no way that counts. Either there's a foul on the first shot and had to be more than 2 seconds after they touched the basketball, don't you think?
Let's take a look at it again and see what happened as the students here are flocking onto the court.
Here's the pass. It goes down here. Watch the time now. They touch it right here. You see the clock runs out well before he released the basketball. It should not count. You've got it counted right there, but on our clock it should not count.
The officials say that what officials I saw obviously give the good signal. A shot by Tion McCoy.
Stan Rote gave the signal for it to be good. I believe that was Stan Rote.
Indeed it was, Terry.
Yeah, in our screen. But they talked about it right away. Mike Krzyzewski said there's no way that should count, and it shouldn't. They're talking about it right now. He doesn't look very happy.
Let's take a look at it again, and you will see. Keep your eye on the clock. Broadnax can't get it off, but look at that.
See, there's no way that should count. He's got the ball in his hands when that clock turns to 0. But guess what, folks?
We're going to have an overtime. We are going to have overtime here at College Park. We are tied at 95. This game has had everything you would want and then some. Maryland had this game well in hand, 86-76 with 4 minutes to play. They turned the ball over 7 times out of 9. Duke came back to take a 4-point lead, and we are going to overtime, tied at 95. Stay with us. You won't want to miss this. Let's take a look, Terry, at Gary Williams' reaction. Look at this. It's in, it's in, is it in, is it in, is it in? Holy Toledo, it's in, it's in, it's in. Oh, I like that emotion. Well, we're getting ready. Evers Burns and Christian Leitner will jump in the center circle. 95-95 overtime. College Park, Maryland, Cole Fieldhouse. It is rocking in here. Thomas Hill's got it for Duke.
Obviously, in the overtime now, Maryland not having the upper hand because they've got two of their stars on the bench.
And Phil Henderson right out the bat makes a strong offensive move to the basket. Vince Broadnax calls for the foul.
Henderson with a good wheel dribble right here. The turn, he gets the advantage on Broadnax, draws the foul, and the switch. He can take him to the hoop. Broadnax not as quick as Henderson.
That's 5 fouls on Vince Broadnax. He's just fouled out of the game as well. Maryland's bench is really depleted here.
Basket is scored by Phil Henderson. Foul is on Vince.
Yeah, you really get the feeling that they just want to hang on here in the overtime. It's tough. They're undermanned, and they're going to the end of their bench.
Keep in mind that Tony Massenberg, Walt Williams, Vince Broadnax, and Jesse Martin now have all fouled out of the game. Coming into the game from Maryland is Curly Young, a 6'3" freshman from Chesapeake, Virginia. You get a look at Vince Broadnax, who gave it everything he had in here.
How'd you like to be him? Curly Young comes in the overtime. Hasn't broken a sweat all day, maybe in warm-ups before the game, and you come off and you're playing in overtime against Duke.
Henderson completes the three-point play. Duke leads at 98-95 in the overtime. So we'll set the lineup for you now. Evers Burns, Gerard Mustaf, Keon McCoy with the basketball. And it's Mustaf with the follow after Burns missed. Mike Anderson also in the lineup now for Maryland.
Great drive by Keon McCoy against the half-court pressure that time of Duke, not the full court.
Mustaf has 30 points in the game. Leitner inside. Mustaf with the rebound for Maryland. Here come the Terrapins on the attack. Evers Burns. The freshman from Baltimore, Maryland with a strong move. Maryland leads 99-98.
They're playing on emotion right now. The emotion of the crowd, the emotion of their coach, the emotion of their bench.
Keep in mind, 4 of Maryland's starters have fouled out of this basketball game. Curly. This is Leitner. Christian Leitner. What a clutch basket from the sophomore from Angola, New York.
Taking a hand up. The guy can shoot the basketball a little bit. They just left him wide open.
Duke by a point. 3:40 left to go in the overtime. Keon McCoy to Curly Young. Preston. Young to the hole. Oh, my. Oh, he'll remember that for a long time.
That takes guts. You come off the bench in overtime. You hadn't played the whole game. You found to the hoop, and here's the steal.
By the freshman Burns. He's got another freshman Young open, but Burns takes it all the way. He's fouled by Thomas Hill. You know something, Terry? Gary Williams' bench may be a little deeper than he thought.
Deep in courage and deep in heart. I'll tell you that. That's what they're operating on right now.
Mitch Kasoff into the lineup now. 6'1" senior from Baltimore. Ala Abdelnaby reporting back in for Duke. Oh, my. I don't know about you, Terry, but I'm exhausted. Boy, this game is, to watch this game, the intensity on the floor is just been incredible today. What a great basketball game we've seen.
Well, you know, that might be a factor, too, for Duke. They had the late game on Thursday night, only 1 day of practice. They're on the road. We talked about it all game long. Now they're in an overtime battle. Fatigue may be a factor.
Evers Burns, his teammates stepping up, telling him just to relax. Mitch Kasoff, who gets very little playing time at all from Maryland, in the lineup now. Maryland's had to go deep down on its bench. Burns, 6'8", 234 pounds, and a freshman. And he's strong with both of them. Maryland still enjoys a 1-point lead. Leitner inside to Abdelnaby. Young blocks it. Abdelnaby with the follow.
They went straight down low to the big guy.
Leitner Young, wow.
Yeah, Leitner up high, Abdelnaby down low. You take the choice on who you're going to guard.
This is McCoy. Mustaf. Won't go. Mustaf's got the rebound. Back up with it. Gerard Mustaf, 32 points today.
What a battle. Neither team will give up.
Fouled by Tion McCoy. You know, Terry, what we're seeing today is not just a battle of talent and skilled basketball players. This is a battle of courage and heart.
Well, down the stretch, I mean, you're in overtime right now. And both teams, you know, you hate, I mean, absolutely hate to lose a game like this. And after a ball game, even if you do lose, it's the greatest feeling. The fact that you let it all out on the court and you take nothing with you. There's really no better feeling than that as an athlete.
Abdelnaby ties the game with a free throw. He'll try to give Duke the lead.
Remember, it was the free throws in the last minute, too, that did Duke in. They missed a few at the line. Big Maryland right.
Alla, the senior, hands both of them, and you saw the difference in both ends. Everett Burns, the freshman, a little strong, and Alla, the senior, calmly put him down. Burns to the baseline. Laettner with the rebound.
Rushed it a little bit. They need to work the ball and get it to Mustaf.
2:10 left to play in the overtime. Duke with a 1-point lead in the basketball. Henderson on McCoy. Bill Henderson has played very well here in the overtime.
Every shot right now is such a clutch shot. I mean, to go in there and drive and go to the basket and take that shot, it's not easy.
Ball is knocked out off of Duke. As you see, we've now moved under 2 minutes. This is a big possession, I feel, for Maryland, Terry.
Well, down 3 right now with a minute 51. Yeah, they'd like to get the ball working and give it to Mustaf. There you go. Let him do something with it. He's your guy.
He's short. Abdelnaby has it knocked away. The foul's going to be called on Curly Young, the freshman. Abdelnaby will go to the line. There have been 6 lead changes in this overtime. And if Abdelnaby could hit here, Maryland may see it slowly start to slip away.
And you see right there, Mike Krzyzewski saying, watch McCoy. Watch McCoy for the 3-point shots right now.
Ala Abdelnaby is 4 for 4 from the line today. It's 77.5% of his free throws. 5 for 5. Boy, he's been a cool customer at the foul line.
Well, at this point in the game, when you've played this hard, this long, you're hanging on by a thread. I mean, you've got nothing left. You're just hanging on by courage and heart. And every shot is a big one, but it's, as he misses that, it's almost like there is no pressure because you've left it all out there. I mean, you're just out there playing right now. You're existing. You're just being. Existentialist basketball, I guess.
A minute and a half to play. Maryland trails by 4. They've got the ball. Curly Young, Mike Anderson. Anderson drives down low. Goes off the foot of Everett Burns. Out, I believe, off of Bobby Hurley. Indeed, and that is going to be the call. Maryland will retain possession. 23 seconds left on the shot clock.
Again, remember McCoy for the 3.
Tion's got it. He's number 11. Bobby Hurley's on him. Here's a 3-point shot. It's strong. Henderson fouled by Mustaf in the battle for that rebound. 4th foul on Gerard Mustaf, who has 32 points today. He's given it everything he has. Phil Henderson has been the man in the overtime as he really set the tone with the first bucket in the overtime was a 3-point play that he converted. And Duke immediately had a 3-point lead, and Maryland's been battling back in this overtime ever since.
Yeah, they got the tip, and he went right to it and took Broadnax, I think it was, drew his 5th foul and got the bucket.
Henderson, another one of those seniors, and it seems that Duke, not only with the statistical edge in free throws right now, but they've got the experience out on the floor to hit these.
Boom. Got to run it up the floor now if you're Maryland.
That's Duke's largest lead of the game at 6, 109-103. Minute 10 left. Mustaf. Got it, and he's fouled.
There's that cut once again. Still, even with Massenberg out of the game, that cut from the weak side to the post. See down low to the block right there. Mustaf comes right around, and Abdelnaby was stationary, but he had his hands forward. He was leaning forward. His hands, if they would have been straight up, there would have been no foul on him. And afterwards, he started to yap a little bit. Mike Krzyzewski said, keep quiet, and then he took him out.
Drag Mustaf, 34 points today, 11 rebounds, 16 for 23 from the field. What a great game for the sophomore from nearby Greenbelt, Maryland.
That's something. Sophomore.
Wow. I look forward to watching him play over the next couple of years.
How about Mustaf Leitner matchups over the next couple of years?
I'll be fouled out of the basketball game. Brian Davis is in to replace him. Mustaf converts on the three-point play. It's 109-106. And Cedric Lewis comes in to try to give some defensive strength to Maryland. They get it into Henderson. Henderson, double teamed by Kasoff and Young.
Yeah, you can hear it over here. Thought he had all ball, but he didn't. He had his arm, too.
Mitch Kasoff, the senior from Baltimore, called for the personal foul. Mustaf back in, Lewis out. 1:03 to play. Hold on to your seat.
It's happened before, like about 20 minutes ago.
Wow. Phil Henderson has 7 points in the overtime, 24 points today. As we said, he's been the spark plug here in the OT.
Comes down to ball handling and free throw shooting once again. Carbon copy at the last minute of the game.
Henderson misses. Maryland has a chance to tie now with a three. 109-106.
Duke still in the man-to-man. Keep an eye on McCoy for the three. Try to keep it away from Mustaf.
Mitch Kasoff threw it away. Keon McCoy was able to touch it. It's over and back. The ball will belong to Duke. Well, you know, you've got a lot of guys in there, Terry, right now who have not played a lot of basketball during the season. Mitch Kasoff, Curly Young, Evers Burns. They're being asked to do a lot for the Maryland Terrapins and giving it everything that they have out there on the floor.
Yeah, they really are. I mean, you're talking about an overtime game, and these guys not only have not played a whole lot, but they haven't played together either. They've got a couple guys like Mustaf. They don't usually play with him even in practice.
Kasoff will be called to the foul on Christian Leitner. And we might mention again the reason they're playing is that fouled out for Maryland, Walt Williams, Tony Massenberg, Jesse Martin, and Vince Broadnax. So 4 players have fouled out. Among the starters, only McCoy and Mustaf are still around.
The effort from both teams, though, is that's what makes the ACC what it is. When you get that kind of effort during the season. We're not talking about tournament games here. We're not talking about NCAA games, but the intensity between these two clubs is something else.
Big free throw by Christian Leitner. 42 seconds left. It's a 4-point lead as Jerry Donahue, one of the officials, steps in and says, okay, guys, just relax for a minute. We know how important this rebound is, but just relax. And the rebound comes down to Maryland. Mustaf. The Terps down 4. McCoy. Curly Young.
Nice.
Feeds into Burns. Burns. Timeout in the paint. And Maryland is able to get the timeout. 30 seconds left in the overtime. Duke leads Maryland by 2 points. We're back in College Park, Maryland. Mike Hogwood along with Terry Gannon. And Terry, have we seen a basketball game today or what?
Basketball game and a half. I'll tell you what, but you know, both clubs have played so well, and it's been a game of spurts, too. Maryland dominated down low right off the bat. They had guys inside, Massenberg, Mustaf, right off the bat down low. They did what they had to do. Then at the end of the first half, when Williams went to sit down, Duke came back. Then Maryland came back at the beginning of the second half. The last 3 minutes, Duke went after him, got some steals, made the free throws, and then Maryland comes back and makes the last second shot. What a game.
30 seconds left in the overtime. Theon McCoy has quickly fouled Phil Henderson. I guess it's going to be 5 on Theon, which is why you see him holding his head in his hands.
Fouls on Theon McCoy, his 5th.
I'm sure that's not who they wanted to be in the game to give the foul, and Theon's being told he has 5 fouls.
Exactly. I mean, he's the shooter. He's the guy they want to take the shot at the other end, and he really didn't want to commit that.
That's the 4th Maryland starter to foul out of this game. 5 players in all have been disqualified for the Terrapins. Theon McCoy gets a big hand as he leaves. Win or lose, boy, I think both coaches have a right to be proud of both of their teams. Mike Krzyzewski for the way Duke fought back. Gary Williams for the way Maryland hung in there. Phil Henderson.
Big free throws again.
Oh. And the senior makes his teammates and coach a little nervous, but he rattles it in.
Some iron, some limage, a lot of it too. Big free throw here because the three-point shot obviously ties it. Mitch Kassoff is the guy that Maryland would like to take that three-point shot.
And he is a good shooter. Now the lead is 4.
Got to score twice now unless you get fouled on the three-pointer.
Takes off number 5, and this is Anderson. Won't go. Fight for the rebound. Scramble. See who's out with the jump ball and give the ball possession to Maryland. They waited a while before we called a jump ball and roll it around on there. 18 seconds left to play now. 112-108. 4-point lead for Duke.
No timeouts for Maryland either. They just used their timeout in the overtime just a moment ago. So if they hit the shot, they've got to foul right away on the inbounds pass.
I'll tell you one thing. Some of these freshmen from Maryland get some good experience.
Stay away right here.
Curly Young trying to get the ball inbounds. Has it knocked away. Young, number 21, freshman from Chesapeake, Virginia. Kassoff. He's got to take the 3. A little strong. Bobby Hurley. Fouled by Young with 12 seconds left. And with 12 seconds to go, Bobby Hurley could probably ice the game with a couple of free throws right here.
I would imagine. And Duke coming back after the loss Thursday night. A top 5 team. They may drop a little bit because of the loss, but proving that they're going to be there all season long.
Duke's next game, they head to Stetson, where they'll play on Monday night, and most people expect that one to be a little bit easier than the game they played here. But Maryland has proven time and time again in the games against Clemson and Georgia Tech, and with a big win over North Carolina here, that they are a force to be reckoned with in the Atlantic Coast Conference, and that they're able to beat any team on any given day. Really. I know that's a cliche, but I think they've proven they're able to do it. The executive producer is Jimmy Rayburn. Our producer today has been Steve Craddock. If you take a look at some of the names who are the people who have made our broadcast possible, and games like this are fun, Terry Gannon. Exciting broadcast today.
This is what you come for. I mean, this is what we work for, games like this. And I'll tell you what, from the player standpoint, too, I mean, like I said, even the ones that walk away having lost this ball game, after you play a game like this, and you've been through that, and there's nothing left to give. I mean, you went out there and you competed at your best. You walk away with some self-satisfaction, even when you're on the losing end.
You get a look at the crowd here, many of them who have already started to foul out. They are some of the guys who were here before dawn this morning, standing in the rain.
The Turtle Heads.
Yeah, the Turtle Heads waiting to get in here. Maryland basketball is a big deal here again. And Bobby Hurley might have done it with that free throw. Hurley has 9 points, 9 assists today.
One of the best. Talk about people who will have fun watching over the next couple of years. Bobby Hurley. Obviously, Kenny Anderson down at Georgia Tech. Another year with Chris Corchiani, John Crotty. Best league for point guard.
Burns hits a 3. 6 seconds left. Maryland has no timeouts.
Hey, they might get a steal.
That's it.
Yeah.
What a game. Terry Gannon, I'm going at you. I had fun. The final score is 114-111, Duke over Maryland. Any final comments there, Terry?
Well, I'll tell you what, obviously we've already said it. Both teams played their heart out.